Hmm. And it looks like apparently we are live, which is great because you don't need a seance to see the show then. Anyway, hi, this is me, D Ocean, and this is my channel, Deep Woo. D Ocean's Deep Woo, and here we do the deepest of woo, except when we're doing something else. We can do the deepest woo. We may still tonight. But actually, I thought it might just be fun to have just a discussion, just um, kind of a little click-in party. Uh, honestly, didn't have anything major in mind tonight, except just discuss a few things that I've found out. Just a few things I've come across in my travels. Oh, here's Chloe and Indie Groove. Hey, how you doing? So, StreamYard kind of lost my stream again. I come in and look, there's no stream. Yes, there is. I put it out there, and I was like, no, you didn't. There's no stream. It's trying to gaslight me. Mm-hmm. I see. I see. I see what it's doing there. Anyway, what was going on? Gee, I had it almost perfect there. I don't know. Why is this hard to do? It shouldn't be hard. Anyway, I'm on early. What do you mean I'm on early? Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that. You're going through a rough patch, but yeah, growth will come. It always does. How am I on early? I don't understand. Oh, I know. When I first tried to put it out, it said it was going to be the 14th. That was another thing. So I make another stream and I made it for the 13th, but then when it goes through, it goes for the 14th. It's like the 14th. It clicked it to the 14th, and I'm like, that isn't what I did. No, that's not right either. So first it loses it, and then it puts it on the wrong day. So then I had to edit it. Oh my goodness. Dances with StreamYard. That's what I've been doing. And before that, it's, it's, boy, yeah. Well, I'm glad you have that attitude. Yeah. So, aloha, uh, my soul ohana, though you're not all here yet. Oh, Chloe did a video. Oh, Chloe did a video. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that. Uh, let me get in here on my phone. Uh, let me get in here on my phone. Oops. Now I can hear and go to channel. There you go. She thought she was clever. Is that the one? Or crystal unboxing? Oh shit, you got a bunch of videos and I haven't been notified of any of these. I've been unsubscribed. No wonder. Okay. Well, I'm subscribed and the bell rung again. Here, I thought you weren't putting anything out. Figures. Oh, shit. Well, Chloe, sorry about that. I'm going to have to go in here and sum it up. Do some summing up. Oh, if you got a link there, I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'll go into my phone and see if I can see. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay. I can't look at it like during the show, but I will. Let's see. Give it a like, and I'll save it to watch later. How's that? That way it'll be like the algorithms will give you some interaction. Okay. The demons are, thanks, Hook. The demons are really making themselves known. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. You're talking about the, okay, I wish there was a way to show that. Apparently, what we are talking about here.
Basically. So he comes in with this coffee pot, and the coffee maker, obviously, in his hand out of the package. And then he comes in with this box that is soaking wet, completely collapsed, saturated all the way through, paper peeling off, which is the box for the coffee pot. And then tells me, hey, this leaks, I need to grab another one. And I'm like, that's weird, unless there's a hole in it. Because he's telling me it's leaking out the bottom. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but I need a coffee pot and I need it bad. And I was like, okay, well, where's your receipt? Oh, I don't have one. I'm like, okay, well, we just go grab it. Because he's like, can I grab another one? I was like, yeah, go grab it. And he comes to me and goes, well, I don't know where they are. Can you show me? And I said, I don't believe that at all. You're lying because if you just grabbed one, you know exactly where they are because they've been in the same spot the whole 3 years we've been open, right? Mm. And then I was like, actually, so I had to go on a quick pause. So then I say, well, actually, I know where you got that coffee pot and it was out of our dumpster. And that's why you have no receipt and why the box is soaking wet. I'm not stupid. I remember this coffee pot from 2 weeks ago being returned. It's the only coffee pot we've ever had that someone claimed it leaked. So I hand him the coffee pot and I'm like, here, take it. And he's like, have you ever had people do this before? I said, oh yeah, y'all do it all the time. Here, take it. I was like, go ahead and be a thief. It ain't my problem. So is that wrong of me? Like, just wondering, because like I have to give it to him regardless if I want to or not, if it's wrong or right, or if I know I have proof that they stole it or not, because that's how the company is. Like, if I refuse to, they would give him a coffee pot plus give him like a $50 gift card and make him come get it for me just to like shove it in my face. So it's crazy though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, just let him have it. You know what?
Happy day.
You know what? Honestly, just let him fucking have it. Just let him fucking have it. You know what? Honestly, just let him fucking have it. Hear myself in stereo there. Yeah, you know, why bother when you know that's what is going to happen? Why should anybody bother to do a good job or really, care at all? Whoa. I bother to do a good job because this is my show and I care about y'all. But, honestly, we know that this is not necessarily Anything to anything to some of these stores, and heck, if you got it out of the trash anyway. If you got it out of the trash anyway and it leaks, well, he kind of deserves that coffee pot. So, it's dumpster diving. Right. And I would too. Yeah, you're not stupid. People are just so messed up sometimes. Yeah, they're really out there. So, well, people try to get what they can, you know. Not pretty. It's not pretty. It's not a good look. But I think you did exactly the right thing. Not only did you know what was wrong with what was going on, but you said, "Here, go right ahead. Nobody's going to stop you because it's trash anyway. Take the trash out." I would have said, "Yeah, you can just take our trash. It's trash. Take it." So, this is the way that it's going out there in some parts of the world. And fortunately, in my little part of the world, I'm not getting very much of that. Um, but then again, I'm not going to the kind of places where and I'm not in the kind of business, where I'm going to be dealing with that kind of thing too much. But you see, we get trolls in here. There are people always trying to get something for nothing. And what can you do? And it doesn't even matter if they're going to do that, if they're going to give you, and they probably would, because the customer is always right, right? So, see, and they don't realize that then what percentage is there in your worker to do a good job? And that's not going to be rewarded. So that's their problem. That's their problem. Hey, Angel Wings. Okay. Um, oh, yeah, you know what? I listen to Elizabeth April. I'm subscribed to her channel. So she's got a new one. Okay. I'll look at that later. Yeah, I'm subscribed to Elizabeth April already. So basically, I thought I would talk about something that I came across my um, feed about food, of course, and I'm always researching how to feel better, and what to eat and what not to eat is one of those things that I take a look at from time to time. Love you, Angel Wings, and I hope you have a nice day at work. Hi, Mary Wins. So, StreamYard was just not cooperating very well today. So sorry about that, folks. But I had another Phantom broadcast. Hi. Hi. Speaking of which, I thought I would tell you why I'm on later than I thought it would be. I thought it would be on at 8:30. I said, I put out a notice on our, oh, pardon me, on our community tab that I wouldn't be in until 10:10 because honestly, I got invited out again. Jason invited me out again. And you never know what you're going to. Jason is an Aquarius. Oh my God. He is so Aquarius. Okay. He's an Aquarius. And so he just kind of randomly called me earlier today and said, hey, about three or so, you want to go down to Hartville? And I didn't have anything until the show tonight. And I said, sure, let's go down to Hartville. What the heck? They'll give me something to do today. I really wanted to take a day off from being around this place. I don't get out enough. So, so 3 o'clock comes and I'm all showered, I'm dressed, and I'm kind of wondering what happened. For some reason, when I look at my phone, he'd called me like 3 or 4 times and I didn't hear it. I didn't get it through. So I called him and he said, oh, yeah, I'm upstairs visiting somebody else. And I said, gee, I'm sorry. I see you called me, but I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it ever. And he goes, well, still feeling like he was up helping a friend with something in the meantime. Another person he knows in the building, another senior person. And um, well, oh, I got that funny coating on the back of my throat. Anyway, so he said, "Will you still want to go do something?" I said, "Yeah, I was. I'm all dressed and everything. I'm ready." And he said, "Okay, I'll be down in a bit." And I said, "Well, okay." So, you know, so after a while, his mom calls and said, "Is Jason there?" It's like, no, no, he's elsewhere. You know, and as far as I know, and no, that's right. She called me before I called him. That's what happened. I didn't know where he was at that time. So anyway, she says, "Well, he's supposed to have been here." It's like, oh, okay. So, but I never know. Jason is, we call him the breeze. He keeps blowing down the road. It's just, Jason is Mr. Random. He really is. And it's okay. I mean, if you. Hello, Skyfalls. There are some people that you just got to be ready for anything, and he's one of those. So, um, and you go out with Jason, anything could happen. You could end up anywhere. You don't know where. We could start out going someplace and end up going. But the great thing is, we always laugh our asses off, right? So anyway, I don't know what the heck happened with him and with the other stuff, but he did come and say, "Hey, so let's go." We go out. We head out. We're going to Hartville Fleet or Thrift, and it's closed because it's Monday. Because Hartville closes on Monday. Just Hartville wraps up the town on Monday, and actually Kent does that too. All the mom and pop places are closed Monday. So, he's like, he can't believe it. He's like, why is nothing open on Monday? And it's like, I don't know, but it's the same way in Kent. All the mom and pop places are closed on Monday. Sunday and Monday, they're not open. Instead of, I don't know, maybe they don't, maybe some places just don't get enough business. No, he didn't stand me up. No, he didn't stand me up. He just uh, came at kind of a random time. I guess he was helping his friend. His friend is hard of hearing and was helping him try to do some stuff. And it was taking way longer than expected. So he'd been up there, I guess, 2 hours trying to help this guy out. And he finally just said, yeah, okay, I'm taking off. You're on your own. I was supposed to go out an hour ago. So he kind of gets caught. He's an Aquarius. He's very Aquarius, very, very Aquarius. Okay. And remember, Pluto just moved into his sign. Okay. Pluto retrograde, of all things, just moved into his sign. So it's going to be a little different. He's going to have an interesting, but it's always fun. I mean, we always have fun and laugh our asses off because we both got this crazy sense of humor. And so we have fun. We just go out and have fun. And it's fine as long as I don't have any expectations. And I was, it's almost like some people are just a study in not having expectations, not, just kind of going with the flow, which is what you got to go with. I mean, just got to go with the flow. And it's fun though. I mean, we had fun though because when he realized the thrift shop wasn't open, he all of a sudden is driving along. All of a sudden, spots a um, Mexican place and just turns into it. And I'm there going, "What? What are we doing?" And we turning around. No, margaritas. I'm like, margaritas? He said, "Yeah, the sign says margaritas." I'm like, oh, okay. We're having margaritas. He goes, "Yeah, why not?" It's typical. This is real typical of, oh my God. Okay. So we've been going out together for years. Okay. I mean, not necessarily alone. Sometimes we have somebody else with us. Sometimes we have one of the other neighbors or somebody with us, or his mom or something, just, but, so all of a sudden we're at a Mexican restaurant having margaritas. Well, okay. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I can't eat most of the stuff here. And I guess I'll just watch you eat. I have some coupons for Dairy Queen. I'll grab Dairy Queen later or something, but I'm really hungry. So, but he just decided because he said, well, you're making me some Sasquatch tea. You're making me some apple butter. I'll just buy it. Okay. I'll buy you margarita. It's on me. I said, okay. So basically he got us big margaritas, the really big ones. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, and of course they bring out the chips and the salsa. And then about halfway through, he decides he gets us some queso, queso cheese sauce. Now I'm unacquainted with that kind of food because I have had for years trouble with solanine, which is a lectin in tomatoes and eggplant and peppers and stuff. So I haven't been able to eat that kind of food, but now I'm healed and I can eat it without problem, without too many problems. So, but this is a new experience for me. So I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. And so we're there having giant margaritas and queso and chips and salsa and whatever. And it's really freaking good. And maybe partly because I'm getting wasted. I'm getting so wasted on this giant margarita. It's like this giant margarita. This. So, so by the time that, and then he decided, he says, you know what? You're not drinking that fast enough. I'm going to need a little more to drink. I think I'm going to get a glass of Chardonnay. Can I have a glass of Chardonnay? And she brings him a glass of Chardonnay. He says, here, try a little, and puts it in a glass. And it's like, here, try a little bit, see if you like it. And it's like, oh, yes, it's very good. Hi. And hey, Woo Riders. So then now I'm like, the giant margarita. I've had a little bit of wine. I've had all this queso, and I'm like, but I am happy. I'm like really happy. It's like, hey, all of a sudden the world is a much brighter and more pain-free place. So, so then we finally, we finish up. We decide to go out, and we have, uh, and we're looking for something to do for a while because it's his day off. And we're looking for something to do. And he says, I know, I got my 9 with me. Let's go shooting to a shooting range. I said, okay. Um, because he's always threatening to teach me how to shoot. And it's like, okay, that's fine. It's a good thing to know about that. But nothing was, nearby was open. So he's like thwarted again. So all of a sudden we're driving along and we're driving home, like kind of dejected about that there's nothing open, and he just suddenly just turns into an ice cream shop, says, you like ice cream? And I say, yeah. And he goes, okay, let's go have some ice cream. Turned out to be some really wonderful ice cream, by the way. And then there's some little, like really vintage kids rides, those little metal rides that they used to have as kids for 50 cents. You put your kid on and you entertain them for a little while when you're out shopping. So when they whine, so they quit whining. Okay. So he goes and gets on one of those and he says, here, we'll have the video up later. I will put the video up as a short later. Okay. So there he is riding on that. He says, you want to take a ride on one of these? I'll pay for it. It's like, no, dear. I'm kidding. I'm going to be able to get my butt into one of those tiny, tiny little seats, right? So I don't even know how he did it because he was going, ouch, this is uncomfortable. Well, the hell yeah, it's for like a 8-year-old or something, or a toddler even. Oh my God. So, oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, hook. Oh geez. Hi, Scotty. Aloha, my ohana, my solo ohana. Uh, so anyway, I'm just talking about my experience earlier today. It was just one of those days. It was like, wee, going out with Jason is like that. It's just like, wee, who knows what we could be end up doing? Nobody knows. It could be anything. We could be doing anything. He asked me, do you want to go kayaking? I'm like, I've never been kayaking. He goes, you've never been kayaking? Like, it's just the most normal thing in the world, right? Like, what do you mean you've never been kayaking? uh, Okay. Hi, Lewis. How you doing? That's what it's like. But we ended up not going kayaking this time. I said, okay, well, let me get a little more mentally ready for it because I've never even been in a boat. And he goes, how can you not have ever been in a boat? Is that even possible? I said, it is if your my family didn't do that stuff. He's just looking at me like, you poor deprived child. What planet did you grow up on? So, because his family is real uh, outdoorsy, athletic type, totally different from the way that I grew up. Totally different. So yeah, it was just wee, just different. So I don't know. You don't drink anymore, but you don't drink any less either, Scott. Yeah, let's go surf. There you go. That'd be if we were around the water. That probably would have been the next thing he would say. Okay, then let's go surf. That would be, yeah, that would be right up his. I could see him doing that. Okay, let's go surfing then. So that's the way it is. That's just how it is. I was going to talk about oxalates a little bit. Bring up food, which is one of our favorite subjects, everybody's favorite subject. Honestly, as soon as you start talking about food in the chat, it's over for anything else. You're pretty much going to be talking about food. So I thought, what the heck? Let's have one where we have just okay. It's open for food chat if you want to. Okay, I'll talk about what I learned about oxalates and stuff. But well, I still drink and I don't. But the thing is that having the oh my god, having the giant margarita and then having the ice cream, having the giant margarita and the cheese and then the ice cream. I have the sugar hangover. I just whoa! I right now, and I when I came home and I made my stream and I put it in and I just crashed. And when I woke up, there was no stream. It wasn't in there. It wasn't saved somehow. It didn't get saved. So I had to redo it, and then it tried to make it for tomorrow instead of tonight. And then I had to go in and edit that. And so it was just like this whole big thing. But anyway, that's what happened to me today. But it was a lot of fun. And the thing is just, I guess, the moral of the story is sometimes random, sometimes it's okay to just go out and have a random day. You know, it's fun to just go out and have a random day. So, he's my go have a random day person, my friend who takes me out, gives me some random experience that who knows. It's kind of fun though. It's fun. So it's okay and we have a good time. So we dodged a bullet. It wasn't as bad as the Carrington event. Yeah, that's right. D, you're jelly. You're whoa. D Hook is jelly. Wait, boy. Believe it. Gray skies and rain. Sailboarding is fun. Just don't waterboard. Let's not go waterboarding. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put the link in, and that's the reason I'm having it on StreamYard in this first place, is so I can have you all in if you want to come in. Otherwise, I would have it was giving me such a hard time that I There. I think I got it. There we go. Okay, so there's the link. Click in. It's a click in show, and we'll just discuss any kind of who knows what, because it doesn't bloody matter, okay? It's my show, and I can do what I want to. It's my show, I can do what I want to. You would, well, oh, yeah, it was hot. Yeah, the solar storm. Yeah, yeah. We have had some very massive solar storms. Okay, so Indy's gonna eat and then he's gonna come chat. Okay. So it was like 80 here all of a sudden. And we had like, you know, some 60 some days and then supposed to be only 60 something and then it was like all of a sudden 80 today. So I was glad to get out and go do something. It was beautiful. We stopped by the bog park before we came home. We stopped by the bog park a few minutes till we started really getting eaten by mosquitoes, which is one of the things about being near a bog. A lot of standing water, so you're going to have mosquitoes. So we had and they're not necessarily helicopter, but there's many of them, many. And some are just kind of showed up. Yeah. Yeah, we just kind of had summer early. It just was kind of suddenly here. Hey, move aside. Summer's here. Hi. But then after I made that stream, I crashed like nobody's business. I made this stream. I swear I saved it. And then I crashed for a while because my eyes just closed and I just couldn't, you know. And boy, am I feeling this sugar hangover. Because it was the sugary drink, the alcohol, the sugary drink, then the corn chips, and then the ice cream. Oh, it was so good. They had something called midnight midnight caramel, which was which was different kinds of chocolate, including little packets of chocolate covered caramel, little chocolate covered caramel squares in there, and a kind of a caramel and chocolate ribbon ice cream. It's like was really freaking good. The other one was bourbon something, and I said, "Can I try that too?" It was the bomb. So the ice cream was really the bomb. I mean, it was bomb ice cream, but um, oh my God, what a sugar hangover I have. So yeah, midnight caramel. Of course, Scotty's thinking midnight caramel. Nah. Hey James, how you doing? Yeah, some kind of bourbon ice cream. It was damn good too. It was really good. So I'm just totally wasted. I was just totally wasted when I got home. So God knows. Yeah, I've heard that hook. That we have some GMO mosquitoes would not surprise me. Hmm. Oh God, but I can't stand the way I feel with sugar hangover. I'm used to alcohol. I mean, alcohol doesn't bother me that much, but the sugar hangovers are just awful. Oh, I see. I don't eat that much sugar. Jason pretty much lives on sugar. I don't know how much longer he's going to get away with it, but he consumes unbelievable amounts of sugar. Some people can get by with that. I'm just hoping that he gets by with it. I'm just hoping that he doesn't get the consequences too soon, or gets it under control so he doesn't have the consequences. Because a lot of sugar. Oh God. I can now. The thing is Jason is kind of like that too. Jason is like a box of chocolates, almost exactly. You never know what you're going to be doing that day for sure. It could be something could be scheduled, and then it could be something entirely different. You end up doing it. So so it's kind of like that, but that's okay. Yeah, I just I am so I'm so tired of being killed by, it seems like every time you turn around, somebody's trying to kill us. How are we not going to feel targeted if we've been awake, if we've been paying attention? How are we not going to feel like we're targeted? I don't know how there are people running around not noticing that everything they're doing is harmful. Everything they try to sell us on is harmful, including, wow, what is, okay, now, I try to stay neutral, but I gotta say, oh, wait, before I get into that, of course, I don't know if you heard all that, but I was not paying enough attention to the cat. And that's not allowed. We have to pay attention to the cat. Have to pay enough attention to the cat. There is Mr. Cowboy, our handsome, handsome boy. There he is. That's right. Look at him. Isn't he handsome? He's so handsome. Mr. Cow Mew. Mr. Moo Mew. Moo Mew. Sweet little boy. Okay. So, anyway, there you go. There's your dose of little sweet little cowboy. Sweet little cow cat. He my sweetie pie. Mom's little boy. Anyway, yeah. Ah, jeez. So, before I get into that, it was good to see little cowboy said, "Hey, what about me? Ow, meow. You came in and you crashed, and you didn't even pet the cat when you crashed. You just crashed out, mommy, and I was worried." He was worried. He said, "I was really worried about you because we sleep a lot deeper than cats do, and they sleep kind of light, so they feel like they got to guard us while we sleep." What? Who? What? You mean cowboy? What? Oh, cowboy was a chunky cat when I first got him. He's actually lost a lot of weight since I put him on the better food. I put him on the food that's mostly meat. Meat's the first ingredient. He's actually lost a lot of weight in a nice, slow, but even consistent way. He's actually, and he's so much more lively than he was. He was like half dead when I got him, honestly. Um, so, oh boy, yeah, we've got people who obviously don't give a fuck. You know, um, they'll try their experiments and they don't care. He's eating better. That's all it is. Yeah, and all it's like, isn't it getting really kind of tiresome? I mean, for me, it's like so tiresome that I don't know what to do anymore. It's like a pain in the patootie just to go shopping anymore. You know, going shopping, going out to buy food, and you have to really pay attention to what you're getting. It's like some kind of a game. It's like some kind of a puzzle. Dog goo, dog of cat food. You have learned dog of cat food is horrible for our pets. Yeah, um, most pet food is not very good. He gets chicken supplement, real chicken. So, yeah, it's just kind of crazy. And they want to also, while they're at it, they want to poison our pets because veterinarians cost just about as much as doctors these days. So poison the pets too while you're at it. Poison everybody. Poison the whole world. They don't care. They've got their underground whatever. They got their places and they don't care about the rest of us, I guess. Well, what do they care? There. That's not too bad. Anyway, so yeah, they don't have to care. So I was getting hi Richard the Red. 2 dogs a day? What? What are you talking about? Talking about a dog day afternoon, Scotty. There's the link again. If you want to come in. Oh, oh, yeah. Louis Ta is doing a remake of Johnny Cash, Lake of Fire, Bring a Fire. Uh, okay. Hot dog in the morning and a hot dog at night. Do 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 do. Hot dogs, they're the worst. They're like one of the worst, most bastardized foods there is. I mean, that's and we consume them as kind of a party type food, right? A good time type food, and they're like one of the worst fucking bastardizations of anything They're first of all, they're all they're disgusting parts of the animal, and then they've got all kinds of other things in them that are carcinogenic. So it's like most hot dogs you're eating, then you're like, here, let me poison myself in a very tasty way. They're so tasty. We have such tasty toxins. Maybe that's going to be the name of my book. Well, what I write about it, tasty toxin. Well, as a matter of fact, why don't they have that as a franchise? Tasty toxins. Just be honest about it. It's like, let's go out to the tasty toxin. Yeah, tasty toxin has the best hot dogs and fried chicken with 11 herbs and spices and toxins and uh, whatever. I don't know. Oh dear. Chili dog. Yeah, I know. The thing is that they're very tasty, but not really good for you. Yeah, dog food is horrible. They do horrible things to dog food. It's true, and cat food. They cook it within an inch of its existence, take all of the good stuff out of it, and it's usually made from dreck anyway, and then they cook the hell out of it, and there's not much nutrition. So I supplement it, but he likes his kibble. It keeps him busy during the day, and I'm gonna have to get him a different bowl because he's been letting me know he doesn't like his bowl. So Andy Groove is coming in. So I was going to talk about oxalates, but let's see what he wants to do.
That's
Oxalates.
that works for me. I was coming to talk food.
What's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm groovy.
Awesome. Is my mic okay, or I need to turn it down a little bit?
No, you sound fine. I think you sound fine. What do you guys think?
Check, check. 1 2 1 2.
Dog biscuits and chocolates? No, thank you, Richard. When did you do that? Oh, Lord. Some of these people have tasted dog food. Yikes. Okay, you can do that. So what do you bring to the table, Indy? I was just
Well,
going to
I
talk
was hoping
about
to.
what I learned about oxalates, but go ahead.
Well, I was kind of just food in general, like you said. It's very frustrating to go to the store and it feels like everything you buy, it's like everything's negative, right? It's like there's no good
Yeah.
choices. Huh.
There's been times when I've walked into, I remember when I lived right across the street from a Giant Eagle. I was hungry a lot because I would walk into a Giant Eagle. First of all, the food prices would be very high. And I was on I didn't have much money. Not like I have a ton now, but I had almost no, I there was a time when I was living on $104. Okay. And
Yeah.
I'd walk into there and I'd be like, and I'd look around and there would be absolutely nothing without a negative sign. And I'd walk in and I'd look around and I'd like, there's nothing to buy. And I'd walk out and then I'd realize I hadn't had any food yet. And I'd walk back in and I'd say, surely there's something here that you can both afford and that's actually not going to kill you. And no, there wasn't. There
No.
wasn't. No. Mm-mm. Anything I could buy with what I had was really toxic. Okay. And I knew that. I knew it was going to hurt me. So there was absolutely nothing in that place for me at all that I could eat. And just, I mean, even the produce, there, they had no, at that time, they didn't have the organic produce in there. I'm
And
like,
even
or they had some, and it was like way expensive, way past my point of being able to live on it. So, yeah, I, for a while there, it's like I didn't know what the hell I was gonna.
it's even like the organic stuff or the labeling. They just try more ways to get sneakier with trying to trick you into thinking it's good for you. You
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. Um, and that's why I was gonna talk about oxalates a little bit. One of the big things, I mean, when you've got people who are doing a vegetable diet, okay, and they're doing totally vegetable, or they're trying to be healthy, or they're doing smoothie type thing. One of the big things is kale, okay?
Right.
I mean, there are people who are like kale junkies, right? Highest oxalate of any food.
Hmm.
We're talking in the thousands. We, at 1,000 mg, thousand and
Yeah.
some, like almost 2,000 mg, and I per cup, and I'm like, what can that be? And I mean, and what's the next one? Spinach. I mean, and at the top of the list is all of these things um, that we're told is healthy for us. But oxalates are in them very huge amount. Oxalates can do all kinds of things, can bind to calcium and rob you of calcium. It can mess up your thyroid. It can mess up your skin. It can mess up your kidneys. It can give you kidney stones. And most people have, it can give you swollen, everything from swollen gums to, who knows what, just all kinds of weird symptoms. Oxalates, because it's a plant toxin, because the plants don't want to be eaten any more than anything else does. And so if you have a normal amount of oxalates, so you're drinking a lot of water, um, and you're getting enough calcium, it's not a big deal. But if you're not, and then they tell us what not to do, and between what they tell us to do and what they tell us not to do. As a matter of fact, in the same article, I was reading an article on it, and it's like, gee, the highest oxalate foods. These are the foods not to eat if you're on a low oxalate diet. List kale is the number one, right? So lower down, it's so what kind of foods should you be eating if you want to get the oxalates out of your diet? They list kale again.
Huh.
Why? Oh, high amounts of calcium,
Huh.
because calcium binds to the oxalates. And yeah, I'm like, dude, make up your mind. I first they tell us. I mean, I'm looking at this, and it's like this is supposed to be some kind of official jargon. I'm like, you guys are knucking futs. As far as I can see, you can't. How did you put this together with a straight face? What the hell? So I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah.
Um,
I've often thought about like somebody who's an actual real nutritionist. That really should be like one of the most important professions. And like in my schooling, it was never an option. I've never seen any nutrition class, no nutritional, program. Uh, and even that, I wonder sometimes, like, they break down, you read a label and it's got all this ingredients and it'll tell you this has a certain percentage of this and that in it that you need, RDAs, recommended daily allowance, which is kind of funny. They say allowance, right? That would be something you you want to moderate. So it's like
And it's always the minimum daily requirements. That's like the
minimum. Okay, yeah,
minimum to sustain life.
yeah,
And people take it like, oh, you only need so and so a day. That's the very bare minimum to sustain life. Okay. But I don't want to be minimally healthy. I want to be maximally healthy, right? So that's
right.
bullshit.
Because when I got into this gardening thing, you know, the thing I wanted to do is I wanted to grow something different than just the regular stuff that everybody around here grows, you know, the squash and the this and that. It's all the same stuff. It's like, okay, what's something that nobody's growing around here that might be a little challenging that would be a very healthy option? And like, you know, you start looking at everything, it seems like there's no right answer. You know, it's like what am I supposed to be eating if I want to avoid the negatives? And I don't have
Right.
an answer. Like I like potatoes. I just ate potatoes for hash browns, and you know,
I
you
was
watch.
asking the same thing when I was reading all this. I'm like going, well, and it started with a video. There was a woman who's I can't think of her name. I think I might have put it on our community tab, but she talks about oxalates. That's her thing, right? And she's talking about, I think her name is Johnson or something, Sally Johnson or something. A very, very vanilla sort of name, but she was talking about oxalates and oxalate dumping. And here, most of there's all kinds of problems with this so-called healthy foods, which are okay to eat in moderation. But of course, if you're juicing them into a smoothie, um, then you're getting a super concentrated form of whatever you're putting in there. Because
Yeah,
people will
I've
take
heard
like,
that's not good. I've heard
yeah,
the
I
actual
mean,
juicing is not good. So, huh,
so, and then they'll tell you that if you don't have enough, by the way, if you don't have enough protein, you're in trouble. But then if you have too much protein, you're in trouble.
right.
But it's like, and too much protein for diabetics. What? I don't see
Yeah,
how that would even apply. It's like you, it's so freaking confusing that by the time you try and wade through all of this, you're more confused than when you started. You don't know what the hell is going on. Now, asparagus is supposed to be. Hi, Mark the Arc Spark. Asparagus is supposed to be pretty safe. But, at some point they're going to find something wrong with asparagus. It is the
yeah.
dying age of asparagus, but anyway.
I like
Um,
that too, but that's a very challenging. That's like a crop that takes like 4 or 5 years to, from what I've seen. It takes a few years to, you know, grow to maturity or whatever.
right. Oh, and then, yeah, as Mary brings up, oh, yeah, black tea is supposed to be one of the worst things is a lot of oxalic acid in black tea. Or green tea, for that matter, which they tell us to drink. Oh, but green tea is so healthy, but oh, that has a lot of oxalic acid too. And
Well,
almonds. Almonds are
okay.
another thing. They say, oh, almond milk, almond flour, almond this, almond that. Almonds are one of the highest nuts.
That's
Highest
another one. I love nuts, and I used to eat the shit out of those, thinking, "Oh, this is good," and then you hear it's not. It's very triggering. It's almost like it's a psyop itself. It's
I know.
yeah,
I know. It's like they're trying to gaslight you every day.
yeah,
It's like they're trying to fool you. It's so tricky. There's a trick to everything. There's like, what?
hmm,
And then you hear the carnivore diet,
yeah,
or you hear the keto diet, which actually I've had some good luck with. But one of the things about, of course, the carnivore diet is, well, you are getting rid of the oxalates, but then when you get totally rid of all the oxalates, there's this thing called oxalate dumping that your body does. So all these oxalates that it's stored, because it's a toxin and it's been storing it up in your bones and you're here and you're there and your fat and your whatever else you got. And and suddenly the coast is clear, and now it starts dumping oxalates into your system, and you're getting damaged by it all over again, and you're wondering why you're getting sick and having symptoms, and it's because it's doing this oxalate dumping. So that's why you get this. A lot of people get this time when they go on the carnivore diet. You'll feel better in some ways, a lot better. Like I lost weight. I lost 37 pounds. I felt a lot better, but I got these weird symptoms too that I couldn't quite figure out. And most of mine come out in my skin, and stuff. So, and my stomach, my gut, and it can really ruin your gut. Oxalates can really ruin your gut health. So there is I guess, the stuff. You need enough calcium in your diet. Uh, you need water to help wash it out, wash it through before it turns into crystals and gives you kidney stones. You need, and it'll give you kidney stones and other stones too, in other places, oddly enough, liver and even uh, uh, what is the ones,
Gall, gallstones.
yeah,
Or,
all kinds. So,
yeah.
yeah, so it'll give you all that stuff. So basically, you need glutathione and you need um, magnesium, calcium. That helps you get rid of it. But then again, you get too much of some of that stuff, and you're already off again. You're off again. I mean, a lot of these supplements, I put aside a lot of my supplements because they just weren't doing any good. I was on all kinds of supplements at one time. I have a one of those big roughneck totes full of supplements, full of old supplements that I've given up on. So, it's like, what the hell are you
Yeah,
supposed to do?
they say a lot of those are useless because they're not bio ready, bioavailable. Your body.
Bioavailable, right?
Yeah.
So I'm there. I'm like, oh
Well, let me ask you this,
yeah,
because
tail cap. Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's
I'm so,
another
I'm
thing that can cause. Yeah.
I'm soaking some red beans, some crock pot, some red beans for tomorrow. Because I heard soaking them. What is it? Beans have lectins. Is that it?
Yes, they do.
And soaking them is supposed to help, I think. Or
Yes. Yes. Soaking
yeah,
and sprouting. If you can
yeah.
get them to
Okay.
sprout just a little bit, that helps take some of that away. So never eat beans without soaking and sprouting them a little bit. And that means let them get a little tail on them.
Hmm.
Let them grow a tail. Small tail, doesn't have to be a big one. But if they got a tail on them, then you've soaked them enough. And the other thing is rice. A lot
Right.
of rice has been grown in fields that used to be cotton. There was a lot of arsenic used. If you don't rinse your rice, and I have taken to soaking it, if you don't rinse and soak your rice, you could be giving yourself a lot of problems. You could be poisoning yourself there. Uh, you know, there's
Yeah.
also,
Like the enriched rice, like the any of the white rices, enriched rice, it's like zero nutritional benefit at all once they're enriched.
yeah, but then if you rice brown rice, high oxalate.
Uh, huh. Yeah, usually I try to stick with basmati rice.
Yeah, basmati rice or yeah,
Jasmine, I heard, is pretty good too. But
jasmine rice is good. But I rinse the living shit out of it and often let it soak a little bit too. And it's just
yeah,
they have sucked up everything. And even the stuff that wasn't bad, they fucked it up.
yeah,
It's like it couldn't be more perfect of a cocktail to kill you, to give you bro, but not fast. No, they want to kill you very slow. It's kill you slowly. But it's a testimony to how much our systems can really handle. It's amazing how much our
Yeah.
bodies can handle before they give up. Yeah, you absolutely growing your own food, and they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to do that. As a matter of fact, if you try growing any vegetables in your front yard, they will give you a hard time with it. Everybody will be like, you can only grow poisonous, toxic, ornamental crap. Why? Why is that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy. That's insane. Why can't
Well,
you grow food in your yard?
I'm
That's
saying the
crazy.
same thing about the way that they're targeting the beef industry lately. It's when they do something like that, it makes me gravitate to it, right? It's like, well, there must be something good about it. It's definitely not because they're worried about our health. So if they're saying something's bad, I'm usually looking at it like maybe I need to start eating this because
Yeah.
they
Well, rice
tried that
is
with the
actually
eggs.
pretty good. I mean, I feel better after I eat some rice. It the cleans you out really well. I mean, it kind of mops the inside of your interior, and it'll absorb a lot of crap. It'll absorb a lot of toxins and get them out of you. So I think rice is actually, in my opinion, very healthy. Or also another one is cabbage, low
Yeah,
oxalate, if any at all. I don't think it's even on the list of oxalate foods. Um, and broccoli. But they have other problems because the crucifers are all goitrogens.
goitrogens. What does that mean?
Goitrogens, yes, they can give you goiters if you overdo them.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes. And don't done so yet. See what else you get. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute here. But they try to tell us all this stuff, and yet there are people who lived on cabbage. They basically raised families on cabbage because it was so cheap and easy. It was easy to grow. It's very hardy. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it lasts a long time. I mean, if I put a head of cabbage, I can have a head of cabbage in my fridge for 6 months, and it's fine. It's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
I went to this was probably about 5 years ago, but I went to a St. Patrick's Day parade in New Orleans, and they were throwing heads of cabbage off from the floats. I thought it was
Really?
kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They
kind
take
of
it home
weird.
and cook it. Yeah.
That is kind of weird, but hey, it'd be fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, the potatoes are high oxalate, but and worse if you have the skin. It's helped if you boil them, but throw away the water because it's going to be in the water.
Hmm.
And peel those suckers because a lot of the oxalates are in the peeling.
Now, see, I've heard that the only healthy part of the potato is the skin. That the inside part is the starch. But it's like, yeah, it's like you said. Every time you find something, you hear the conflicting and complete opposite of it, and it's
Absolutely.
gaslighty.
They told us for years, don't eat the yolk of the egg, eat only the healthy whites, they're
Yes.
protein. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
The yolk is where the nutrients are.
They tell you don't eat fish because of the mercury. I can tell you, fish is a staple for me. I've been eating that my whole life, and I credit that with, of course, I was eating fresh fish growing up, but I used to eat it every day, eating potatoes every day, and all of that. And now, if I eat fish or any seafood, really, I like you said, I immediately feel great after I eat it.
Yeah.
But they tell
I
you, no, it's full of mercury, full of this, full of this. Like, goddamn, bro.
really, I felt best. The diet that I really felt best on When I was in Florida, I ate a lot of fish and fruit, mostly.
Yeah.
Fish and fruit, that was mostly what I ate. A little bit of red meat, but mostly fish and fruit. Some kind of shellfish, some kind of fruit, all the time. And I was fine. I
Yeah.
felt good. I felt light. I felt good. I wasn't gaining any weight. I didn't have problems. For the first time in my life, I didn't have problems. And of course, the weather was good, so I could get outside in the sun and I could walk around and I could do some stuff, and it was nice. So I don't know why that. I wish I could have gotten things started in Florida, sort of. I kind of wish I could have, but um, but it didn't work out in Florida for me. But it's like rice. I seem to feel better with if I'm feeling like I've been poisoned. If I do the thing with the rice, I can usually feel better than after that. But there is like another little trick to the oxalate thing. If you have an oxalate problem and you remove all the oxalates from your diet as much as possible, then, like I said, there's this thing called oxalate dumping. All of a sudden, your body is going to dump all the stored oxalate, and you'll get all of your old symptoms again, and maybe even weirder ones, right? So, all of a sudden, you're going to have your symptoms back at some point when your body says, oh, and it can take like 6 months to finish the process of getting rid of the oxalates. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what you're supposed to do. So here we go again. It's like, okay, fine. If you go on the carnivore diet, you're not going to get oxalates. Okay. You're not going to get
Yeah.
any. Okay. Which is pretty good. And I mean, a lot of people have gotten very good results, including me when I was pretty much eating almost entirely just meat. I was doing great. But I did all of a sudden start having these symptoms and I didn't know why. And that was why, because my body was dumping all the oxalates. Because I happen to love things like beet greens, and beet greens are way up there. And beets, the problem is beets, you're told to eat those because they have a lot of the nitrous in them, the nitrogen. Nitrogens are really good for you. I mean, they really keep you young. Problem is, they have a lot of oxalates.
Right.
So I'm there going, now what do I do? Because the beets were really helping. But that's the other thing too. If you're having your symptoms, all of a sudden you eat something high oxalate, you'll stop oxalate dumping, it'll start storing it again. Your symptoms will go away and you'll think you're better. I'm like, this is madness. This is enough to make you crazy. So how do you know? How could you ever figure out how do people live? So, and then on top of that, we've got the GMOs, which are ridiculous, ridiculously long strings of, different compounds that don't really belong together. And then some of them have the pesticide built into the genome.
Right.
So you can't wash it out. You can't cook it out. Okay, oxalates can be boiled out of a lot of things. If you really love your oxalate high food, you can boil it out of a lot of things. But then they tell you the boiling things takes out the other,
Right.
the
Take from
other
those
shit too.
nutrients. Yeah.
What the fuck are you supposed to eat? Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's like
carnivore is good. Yeah, but it is supposed to be good for the stones Mary wins. In fact, it's supposed to be one of the things that helps you get rid of them. See, and then you've heard exactly the opposite, and there's my point. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Like, so what the are you supposed to eat? What the fuck
yeah.
are we supposed to eat to be healthy? because we can think we're being healthy because we're storing oxalate. Your body's storing oxalate. After a while, though, you're going to get symptoms. You can have thyroid problems and everything else. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. It's enough to make you, want to be a breatharian.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. You know?
Or just say, fuck it, I'm going to kill myself one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just say, fuck it. What's the point?
But that removes the enjoyment even of food. It's like, there's very few unguilty pleasures in this life, and it's food was one thing you could at least try to do right, and it's like they took that away too. It's like that's why I say I wonder if this is just all a psyop, because my great grandparents, they lived long lives into their 90s and shit, and they were all eating
From just eating plain food.
yeah.
But see,
And
now Louis Ta's going, but Indian food is awesome. Guess what? The show that I was watching this woman on, the host was Indian, and all of the foods she was mentioning that were bad, the Indian girl is sitting there going, "That's everything we eat."
yeah.
India.
Well, like we were talking about rice,
That.
the Asian people, that's like the staple of their diet, and look at them. They seem to stay looking younger, longer, and they've been doing it
But
for
they are
thousands of
very
years.
careful to rinse their rice. They are
Yeah,
very careful to rinse it, and they are very careful. Like another thing is they ferment their soy, which changes it entirely. A lot of foods, fermented foods, completely change. But if they have poison in them, the toxin, it will also concentrate the toxin as well. So you want to make sure that when you're fermenting foods, you are fermenting foods without the toxins. So Indian food is good, and then it's bad. And turmeric, it can cure all kinds of diseases, but it's very high oxalate too. I'm sitting there and I'm going, what the hell? What the? This is crazy. Yeah, cowboy wants attention because I was gone.
Hmm.
Chocolate is another high oxalate. Yes. Oh, and it's so good, but it's good for you. The cacao is good for you, but it has high oxalate. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Great. Um, uh, just yeah. It gets you to where and so like I said, I bless my food. That's all I can come up with. It. I do the best I can. I bless all my food. It's like I bless this food to be healthy and wholesome, nutritious, delicious, perfect for me in every way. And I bless every being who had a part in bringing it to me. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for this food. I'm so thankful. I'm so happy. This food just shoots some good energy into it. I ask that it be purified and eat it. And that's all I can do. Because in the end, oh yeah, kiwi and blackberries are supposed to be bad. High oxalate, but good for you as well. What the hell?
yeah.
What the hell?
Huh.
Like I said, they were listing kale as one of the things you should never eat, and if you're having problems with oxalate, one of the things you should eat. So they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. They have no clue. I don't think that some of these people have any more of a clue than, and they're probably using they're probably using AI to help them generate the content anyway. So I asked, okay, what is the list of high oxalate foods in declining order? So from the most to the least. So I'll give you an idea of the range. Spinach, kale, stuff like that. That is way up there. Okay. Spinach is like 1510 milligrams per 1 cup. Rhubarb is 1082 milligrams per 1 cup. They had, here, now this is weird because earlier they had kale up here as the top one and now it's gone. That's really weird. So anyway, let's see. Okra has 1014 milligrams a cup. Beet greens, which I really love to add because of the nitrogen, 500 milligrams per 1 cup. But you see that it's declining pretty fast. Swiss chard is 420. Green chard is 347. Beets themselves are 152. Navy beans are 152. Baked potato with the skin are 97. Rice bran is 97. Buckwheat groats 93. Wheat berries 86. Another thing, wheat berries and buckwheat groats, and that's supposed to be so good. Corn grits, which every Southern boy eats every morning with his eggs, is 86. 94 for soy flour. Bulgur wheat is 86. Cocoa powder 67. Brown rice flour 65. Cornmeal 64. Millet 62. Whole grain wheat flour is 29. Soy protein isolates 27. Brown rice 24. Lasagna pasta is 23. And all purpose flour is 17. But now you see, this is a huge difference from up here. You're talking about the spinach and the rhubarb and the okra and the beet greens and stuff. You're talking with the spinach and the kale and stuff, you're talking thousands. Down here, you're only talking double digit. Okay. So I'm going to say, foods toward the bottom of the list. Probably you're not going to have too much trouble with. Like couscous is only 15, spaghetti pasta 11, white rice flour is 11, raspberries 48. Well, see, they screwed up because I said descending order, but we got 48 there. Orange is 29, dates are 24, grapefruits 24, avocados 19, olives 18, kiwi 16, tangerine 10, hot chocolate is 65, but of course, if it's combined with milk, then the calcium is going to take some of the oxalate away from it. Carrot juice 27, V8 juice 18, tomato juice 14, brewed tea 14. So it's really not that bad as long as you only have 1 cup of it nice now and then. And rice stream 13. But rice stream is just as much, almost just as much as brewed tea. So, you know, and yeah, and then it goes on to the overview what you should be eating, and then it tells you to eat the same things as it tells you not to eat. And I don't even want to go into that. I'm not even going to read you that. Okay. You can see what I mean by there is a vast, vast difference. So they say, oh, this is a high oxalate food. Well, we're talking, okay, so a cup of brewed tea. Oh, a cup of brewed tea. Well, a cup of brewed tea is only 14. But a cup of navy beans is 152. And a cup of rhubarb is 1082. And okra, which is supposed to be real healthy, is 1014. And spinach was supposed to be real healthy, is 1510. Hi. So there is a wide range of high oxalate foods, wide range. So, I'm there like, okay, do your own research and take your own chances. But honest to God,
Yeah, I think I'm definitely at the point where I think it's I'm questioning all the information because it don't add up. Like you say, you look at it, it's like, okay, how do they really know what's in this? And how would you really know what's good or bad for you? I mean, they've told us everything is safe and effective and this and that, and we know it's not. And
Well, yeah, if they tell you it's safe and effective, you better avoid that shit.
right.
Right?
And so if you didn't have science telling you all this, um, like me, I've always kind of relied on. I heard somebody say at one time. They said, whatever you feel like your body is craving is what you need, and that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense to me too.
Yeah, because sometimes I get on a kick where I'm like, all right, I really want to eat like some watermelon, or I really want to eat some fish, and if I go and I eat it, I feel great. And another thing that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I think there's probably a lot to it, is that different blood types um, correspond to a certain diet to that blood type. And for some blood types, they need meat. And for some types, they're more, vegetarian based. And I hear hardly anybody.
It's very individual. It's not
Yeah,
the same across the board. There isn't anything that you can do that's across the board a good idea.
yeah,
That is another problem. I, I mean, what works for one person not going to work. Oh, here's another one. I found out and I ran across, and I think I put it on our community tab. Is a guy talking about how if a lot of vegans and vegetarians, they develop they develop certain problems of their own due to lack of having certain nutrients.
yeah. Depression, I
Um,
heard, is one of them.
depression,
Yeah.
really bad.
And I,
That
I, I,
sooner or later.
I kind
Yeah,
of
just
look at like the quote left wing, these lefties or whatever, a lot of the more extremist ones tend to be vegetarian, because they don't want to murder animals. And I get it. But you look at the behaviors, a lot of them really do act crazy. I knew one girl who struggled with, mental problems, and I think it was her diet. And, they've come out and said that. And, I don't know. Looking at observational evidence, it seems to be something to that because they don't
yeah.
act healthy. Yeah,
Well, and yeah, and these the kind of, especially the vegan wokies,
yeah,
they act like they got no. Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. Aren't we all freaking tired of? I mean, they're living in just some kind of fantasy world. They're
yeah,
living in some kind of their own world with their own pronoun. Like everybody's got to mind read or memorize their fucking pronouns and shit. And then we got to remember what gender they imagine they are to call them. I'm like, I'm over it.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
I'll call you whatever you present as, whatever you look like to me. I'm going to call you that. If you get mad, I'm going to say, well, then dress like it.
hmm.
Fucking dress like it then. If you want to be a woman, you want to be called a woman, then look like a fucking woman. Okay? Don't get on my ass about it.
Yeah.
Okay?
I look at it this way. I was taught pronouns in like seventh grade English. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not learning pro. I've already learned pronouns. I'm not fucking learning any new ones. Huh.
Hmm.
He, she,
No,
it, we, them, they, there. We get all that. That's
I'm,
enough for me.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired
Yeah.
of it. It's like you can be a man, you can be a woman. You can't be all of them. You can't be like and and I'm sorry, but if you identify as a cat or a dog or something, well, then we're going to feed you kibble and
Mhm.
maybe make you poop in a litter box and, and then turn you outside for a while
Yeah.
to, I mean, geez,
That's retarded.
you know, Yeah, we'll put a collar on you. We'll give you kibble. No, you're not allowed on the good couch. It, you know, it's just ridiculous. We'll put you out in the yard when you have to go, like a dog. Okay, you're a dog. You have to go out in the yard out there. Don't make me pick up after you. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
don't do that either. That was
mean,
another thing. All this picking up dog shit. I'm like, come on now. I get it
yeah,
if
that's
you're in
another
a
thing.
freaking nice, you know, if you're in one of these uppity neighborhoods and shit, and I get all that. You made that choice, but I think nature is well equipped to handle poop. I mean, that's the nature of compost.
Hmm.
Throw food
Thank
into
you,
it. So,
Richard.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly. Oh, yeah, and vitamin C. Vitamin C. That's the savior, isn't it?
Yeah.
Supplement. Not good for you.
Yeah. Oh, fuck
It's
'em.
really not good for you. No, you can overdose on vitamin C too. Even though megadoses are supposed to be wonderful, yeah, you can overdose on vitamin C. Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? What the fuck, Mary? Exactly. Yes. I mean,
And I thought
crazy.
it was pretty crazy how, especially with the last 4 years, like it became a lot more popular for people to go and get, I don't know if it was vitamin C, but it was something like that. They get these IVs of these kind of vitamins and shit. And I'm like, does that make sense of what you need to be just healthy? You got to go get like scientifically hijacked, you got to
I
string
know.
your, it makes no sense. You don't
I
pass the smell test. And that's a scientific, that's part of the scientific process. It's called face validity. It's
yes.
you look at all the data, you look at what you're testing, how you're testing it, and you're supposed to look at it and say, does this just make sense on the surface? It's like we've forgotten all that.
Oh yeah. Heck with that. Well,
Yeah.
safe and effective, the safe and effective thing that's the safe and effective clot shot, I think is waking some people up, right?
Yeah, I hope.
So that safe and effective clot shot that you can't possibly get the disease, but you do get the disease. You can get it over and over, but it's
I,
safe and effective, but it can give you clots,
I
you
just don't
know.
see how the hell they getting away with that. I mean, that is the most obvious. I mean, they were caught red-handed with blood all over their shirt, and they're just walking
Yeah.
around.
They're still out. They're still
Yeah.
out. They're not anywhere. They're s- they're still living their millionaire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They just poisoned the whole fucking world. They just now you know what? And the funny thing is, the place that got hit the least was Africa. And the people who had the least restrictions was Africa. And yet, who are they touting as being the ones we should follow? Australia, who had horrible restrictions. Come on.
Yeah.
Africa, most people, white man's medicine is black magic to them. Okay? It's evil. And
Smart.
I
Yeah.
don't know because so a lot of them didn't, and I know that there's a doctor in Haiti said she cured everybody that came up with, you know,
Yeah.
the abomination. She cured everybody with exactly what who was suggested.
Yeah.
Oh, Orange Man bad, except that he did suggest hydroxychloroquine. And guess what? She cured everybody in her country that came down with it with that.
Well, my grandma in early 2020, she got what the test said was that thing, which strangely enough, she had been suffering for 2 or 3 years prior. Since about 2017, she had this mysterious coughing illness that nobody could diagnose and this and that. Well, early 2020, all this was kicked off. She went back to her doctor, and he gave her the hydrochloroquine, and she got better. I was like, oh, cool. Well, a few months later, she got it again, and they wouldn't give her that again.
No.
And she didn't make it till December. She ended up in the hospital, and then they gave her the other protocol stuff, and she didn't last 2 weeks in there.
Okay,
And
like
she got all the classic clots and all the shit, and I'm just like, it's just maddening, because you know
yeah,
what they're
it's like,
doing.
you know what I said? My doctor started, she sat down with me and she was going to give me the talk about why to get
Yeah.
the abomination. Yeah, why to get that. And I'm like, I already had it figured out. You know what? To me, I don't I don't mix with people that much. It's not my job. Plus, I am so allergic to the adjuvants that it could put me in the hospital much faster than the disease. So I am better off just self isolating. And that's the way I left it. Okay. And so she said, well, okay, that makes sense. I said, yeah, because you can put me in the hospital much faster with an adjuvant in the than
Yeah.
than the disease would, and it could be much worse.
Especially when they told you in the very, very beginning, even if you went to the hospital, there was nothing that they was gonna do or could do.
Right, right. They wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
Because I did have some friends who thought they had the thing and they were freaking out, and they would call the doctor or the hospital, and sometimes they would just tell them just to stay home and take their flu and don't even come to the hospital. It's like,
That's another thing. You can't tell me that it wasn't designed
oh, absolutely.
because it gave, first of all, here's a couple weird things about it, about the pox. It isn't a pox, but you know what I'm talking about. Um, the the once again the disease. Okay,
Yeah.
so it, if you smoke, you actually have a better chance of not having lung issues. What?
Well, that they had actual white paper studies in the NIH website, PubMed, um, that nicotine killed off the little disease.
Yeah, the little disease bastards. I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. Huh? So you
No,
mean
no.
smokers have an advantage here with a respiratory disease? So you got to smoke to protect yourself? Wait a minute. What the fuck? It's mind-boggling. Here's another one. Is that what an old-fashioned and old-timey remedy for colds and most kinds of that kind of disease, colds, flu,
Common cold, right?
right?
Another name for
Yeah,
the disease, common cold. That was another thing that was glared
common
over in the
cold.
very beginning.
Yeah, that's another thing that we didn't have during those days because, all of a sudden the flu and the cold went away and everything was
Yeah.
that's oh my God. But then what they used to use Concord grapes. They used to use like boysenberries, elderberries. Uh, they used to keep elderberry syrup around for times like that, and it would really cut it short, right? And that was the real cough syrup. Guess what? It is a disaster with this stuff.
Hmm.
It actually will put you at a disadvantage. It's horrible if you use that, if you try to use that as a defense, because it's like somebody went and go, okay, well, people want to stop smoking because they'll think
Yeah.
it's a respiratory thing. So then that'll leave them wide open.
Reverse psychology.
Or
Yup.
yeah, or oh yeah, and then people are going to use this, so we'll make it to where no, that's a disaster. It's like, how can you do that? You mean to tell me nature never came up with this. But
No,
it's been proven nature could not possibly come up with this thing.
no.
It's impossible that nature came up with this. And the reason is because how bizarre it is. Okay.
Yeah.
That would never get thrown together and that would never get very far, just like it didn't really it just kind of died out because it's just not very feasible. There's just so many things about it. So um anyway, now they're going to try and throw something. Now I'm just no, my illusions are completely I'm totally disillusioned.
Yeah. Oh,
They're
I'm there.
throwing stuff at us. They're throwing stuff at us.
And I was
Next
pretty
is
much at
supposed to
that
be
point by 2018 when I left grad school. When I was formally educated in the process, all the scientific research and how it's all carried out and what peer reviewed actually is versus what you think it means when you hear that, I already knew. I was like, there's
yeah.
no way I would pursue a career in this. This is a very fragile house of cards. All this scientific research, it's just exactly what it is. It's all built on assumptions. And 2020 came and we saw all that. Huh.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely. That's one of the things that it was really the best at was showing us how much bullshit that was. I mean, if you are still running around thinking that all of that stuff has validity, has some innate validity, this is the way science is supposed to be. We're supposed to find out whether a theory is true or false through observation and testing and so on and so
repeated,
forth. We're not
repeated
supposed
testing.
to be looking for proof for our theories.
Yeah, that's
We're
you nailing
supposed
it.
to be,
And one of the things I had learned in grad school was that they told us that one of the biggest problems that science was having around that time, this is 2017, 2018, was that they had a lot of scientific studies on a lot of variety of topics, but one of the big problems they had were the lack of follow up and repeated testings of studies. So it's like, yeah, they would test something. I think that's why we were always hearing over the years they would tell us the shit about the eggs, about avoiding the yolk, or coffee's good for you and it's bad for you and it's good for you. And I think that's just because they do one study, they get
yeah,
some
it's good
kind
for
of,
you, then it's bad for you, then it's good for you, then it's bad for you,
yeah,
then
and
it's good
they
for
just
you.
run with it.
Oh God, we're losing viewers. We're
Oh,
losing
shit.
viewers because they're just giving up.
Uh,
It's like good night, Hook. Too much reality, and I'm done, Mary. Is Hook? I'm sorry, Hook. I'm sorry, Mary.
I hear you.
I'm sorry. I get you. I don't know what to tell you, except we're going to have to step up to the plate and become. Geez, and I thought this would be a nice show. A show where we could just air our grievances about this. It seems like it's depressing people. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I mean to.
I mean, hell, I mean, we're adults, Russ.
Just vent. I mean, just give you guys a chance to vent about this because I've had it.
I just
I've
want a
had
right
it.
answer. That's why my question initially was, okay, what's a good safe? What's their good food to eat? We don't have
Yeah,
an
what
answer.
is good thing to eat? What can we do? What can we eat? What I think grow our own food, eat everything in moderation, have a variety so you're not stuck on anything. Maybe is the only answer. So you're not eating anything every single day. So you get giving your body a chance to switch, maybe variety, and maybe make sure that you're growing most of your own, you're either growing your food or you're eating organic, which there's still no guarantees. There's still all kinds of things about organic. They
I think it's regional too, because if you think back, probably 100, 200 years ago, before all this globalization, people in certain areas, they would eat what was available in the area. And, like our ancestors, they survived. So without all this science telling them this and that, so they just ate what was available.
Yeah.
I think there's merit to that. So,
And yeah, and in the season that it was available too. They
right.
didn't eat everything all season. So, and maybe there's a reason for that. Do you know what, too? I've noticed I go through phases where I want something and then it shuts off. Like for a while, I wanted this particular chicken salad with cranberry and nuts in it. I was crazy for that stuff at Aldi's, and I would eat that a lot. I would get that every week. I would go through a container of that a week, and all of a sudden it just shut off. And I couldn't care less about it. It makes me kind of nauseous to look at it. What was up with that? Then, and actually, Paul had this for a minute too, where I could not get enough beef. I had to have beef, had
Hmm.
to be beef. Didn't really want much chicken. Chicken didn't look good to me. Then it was ham. Then it was what else? There were various things that at one time or another I just wanted a bunch of them, and then it just went away. Then there was Paul with his sucker punch pickles. He had to have sucker punch pickles. And then all of a sudden he didn't need them anymore and he was back to just Vlasic.
Huh.
What is going on? Maybe our bodies are trying to tell us you need this right now. You need this right now. You need this later. You need this at another time. Now I try to listen to that, and when I go down the aisle and I get a ping, it's like, okay, what am I getting a ping for? And I look at the aisle and I look, is it some kind of cheese? Is it some kind of meat? Is it some kind of fruit? Um, and so basically, I get kind of I have asked for guidance. It's like, so what am I to eat? Um, and then once again, I bless it and I just do my best because what else are we supposed to do? And maybe that's part of it is we're learning with our intentions to live through this onslaught. I mean, maybe our intentions are going to be a big part of this, because our intentions matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that.
So, and they have a lot of power. So, I think it's oh yeah, Mary says they're laughing their asses off because they've thrown everything they have at us, but we're laughing our asses off because we're still here. We're still here.
Yeah, it
They're
is
gonna
amazing.
try
Like you
again.
said,
They're gonna make another run at us. I told you they were.
we are very resilient.
Yeah, we are. We're way more resilient than they ever thought.
Hmm.
And I can't help but think that that was part of the experiment too.
That's
Are they
why,
experimenting?
well, there's a lot of talk right now, about the stuff they're spraying and all this 5G, and they're trying to infiltrate our bodies. And I hear a lot of talk, so they're going to be able to control everything and put thoughts in your head and all this shit. I don't, for me personally, I don't believe any of that. For me, I don't think that that's going to work on me. And I think that's also part of it, belief that, if you think that you're that susceptible, then you might be. But, I don't. I know I'm a strong willed person, and
I'm a
I,
woman person. Somehow I'm gonna get through this.
yeah,
I'm gonna get through this. You know what? It's like I didn't live this long by taking no for an answer.
yeah,
A reality is saying no, you can't. And it's like, well, I'll find a way to do it. I'll get through it. I mean, I've had some really tough stuff thrown at me. I mean, I've lived places that really were toxic, literally.
yeah,
Black
definitely.
Mold City and all that. Yeah.
Baton Rouge, they call it
Seriously.
Cancer Alley. I mean,
And I basically, I I lived through all that. I lived through all of this crap. There are people who live through chemo. What is
Mm.
chemo?
Oh, it's
Poison.
poison. Yeah.
I mean, and they're fighting cancer, and they've got this toxic chemical as well, and or radiation, which is
Yeah.
also very bad for you.
That's
Everything
a
they
topic
do.
I'm well versed in, the radiation thing, and yeah, that's nuts. But like you
And
said,
then
the cancer thing, it's radiation will give you cancer, but it's also just like kale. It's what they use to treat it.
yeah, but they're going to
Yeah.
treat you with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That when I was a kid is when that happened, and I'm like, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Because to me it made no sense. It's like, okay, so we've got this disease, cancer. And what is it caused by? Toxins, damage, and
Genetic.
um and
Yeah.
radiation,
Yeah.
right?
Mutations. Yeah.
Yeah, repeated damage, repeated trauma can do it, and radiation and toxins. Okay. So to me, I'm there. So now they're looking for a cure. And I'm there going, well, then I guess the opposite of that would be, get away from the toxins, get away from the radiation, uh, do don't do things that are going to injure you too much. What do? They cut, they
Mhm.
poison, and they burn with radiation. And I'm like, that's their answer.
Yeah.
That
I don't know if you watch Jimmy
that's
Dore at all.
what? Hmm? Watch
Uh,
what?
I don't know if you watch Jimmy Dore at all, the Jimmy Dore show, but he just he recently had like a spot on his face that he went and had a dermatologist look at, and at first they told him they thought he had skin cancer. Well, it's a skin cancer, but there's two different types, and the really bad one is
Melanoma.
actually, yes, the melanoma is actually caused by lack of sunlight. And it's actually like a very small percentage of all the skin cancers. The most common type, no, yeah, the most common type of skin cancer is non-malignant.
Yeah.
And so the whole point is they've been telling us all these years to stay out of the sun, put on sunscreen, and well, that's setting you up for the worst cancer.
Right.
When when actually, if you're getting enough sunlight, you're if you did get a cancer, it would overwhelmingly 90 something percentage of it would be non-malignant.
Yes.
So
And
again, counter
here's the other
narrative.
thing too: sunscreen.
Yeah,
Unless
chemicals.
you get a very good organic sunscreen, they're cancer causing.
And we know, and just think like again, face face validity, right? Does it make more sense that the sun is trying to kill you or that the sun makes you healthy? You know what I mean? Like the sun gives life to everything on earth.
I know. It's like they don't want you to think that anything natural could be good.
Yeah,
Do you think that God made everything so faulty, and whoever you think God is?
exactly.
Because I think God is all of us, but do you think that nature, God, or whatever, do you think, although we've lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, do you think that nature has got it all the fuck wrong?
Right.
The problem is nature has got it all the fuck wrong, right? Nature just can't get any shit right, right? And we got to
Nature's trying to
correct it
kill
all.
us.
You're full
That's
of shit.
they
You're
want us
full
to
of
think that
shit.
nature is trying to kill us. And before even
It's
all of this,
fun.
when I was looking at GMOs, to me, these GMO loving scientists, all it's almost like they hate nature. And to me, that's what being satanic is you hate nature.
Yeah,
That's what exactly what they're acting like.
that's our nature. Nature is the expression of the divine.
Yeah.
We're nature. We're part of nature.
That's what I
What?
trust anyway.
Yeah,
If I have to
I
choose, I'm
mean,
trusting nature.
man, me too.
Yeah.
I will stand up for nature. I will stand up for Mother Nature. I will stand up for Mother Earth. I will stand up for, once again, we're divine. We're not divine because some scientists made us divine.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not why we're divine. That's not how we got to be divine.
And they're
We're
working
divine.
really hard to try to understand that one thing that they can't understand, which is consciousness, which is the origin of life, even the origin of the universe. They have to make all these wild theories. They just don't know. And that the God particle at CERN, it's like they really want to figure that shit out, but they can't. And I think that really fucking bugs them.
That is also what there's now we're hearing about our basic understanding of mathematics and geometry.
Yeah.
We're in doubt now because no, you can
Which I
even, I
find
guess you
very
can prove
interesting.
with a calculator that it's off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, okay, we knew we were coming into these times. We were warned. We were,
I had to agree because I naturally all through school I had the same ideas about math. I wasn't able to pinpoint it down, but because everybody was oh, mathematics, that's the language of the universe and all that, they built math up like it was just the be all end all of everything. And I'm like, yeah, it's I get, you got two apples and you add two more, you get four. I mean, yeah, I can understand that, but they start getting all into this theoretical shit and it again, and we see people now that can question it. It's not as rock solid and perfect as they try to portray it to be. And
not at all.
yeah,
No, they try to, yeah, sunscreen causes cancer. Why in the hell would I put on sunscreen?
yeah.
I've done real, and then I tried to tell one of my friends that was so worried about it. I said, okay, I just use plain old coconut oil. It's very good. I mean, I
Hmm.
haven't had, but coconut oil, and I'll tell you another thing, comfrey, my comfrey cream, if I put that on before I go out in the sun, it heals up so fast, I don't even notice. I mean, I just turn brown. I don't even turn pink in between.
Hmm.
So comfrey cream is very good too. It will heal you up very quickly. It's very good for your skin. So, and by the way, I have some. If anybody wants some, it's not cheap, but it's pure comfrey cream. So I have a cache of it, but I got a lifetime supply because I don't want to be without it because I don't know
What
what they're going to take away next.
what is that made from? Like, what is that?
Comfrey,
Yeah, what is
just
that?
comfrey.
I've never heard
The
of that.
cream that I'm getting, it's fucking comfrey. That's all it is.
Hmm.
Just comfrey.
Yeah, I've
Yes.
never heard of that.
And it makes it. They don't add anything else. It's extracted with a machine. They said they got a special machine for, but there are recipes online you can get for extracting comfrey. Uh, and they tell you to mix it with things like coconut oil and stuff, but this is not mixed with anything. This is the comfrey oil is in there too, and it is just pure comfrey. Period. That's all it is. And it's one of the strongest healing creams that I ever found. And it's very hard to find pure, very strong strength comfrey cream. Very hard. I have only found it like from one place so far that's strong. And you can't order it like you have to order in order to get any kind of a decent price, you have to order an amount. You have to order a case of it.
Hmm.
So I'm like, they're making it for resale. So mostly you can get a small jar of it, but it's so expensive. You might as well just fucking get a case of it, which I did. I saved up and just got a case of it. And because it was the only thing I found that worked on so many things. When I had a torn rotator in my shoulder, torn rotator cuff, I could tell that's what it was because I couldn't move my arm. It just kind of hung there. And it was incredibly painful. Anybody who's ever had torn cartilage, it was incredibly painful. I couldn't breathe without it hurting like hell. Okay. I healed it up with comfrey cream, pure comfrey cream. They try to tell you comfrey is toxic.
Yeah.
Ah, there are people that eat comfrey all the time. It's part of their diet, along with other greens. It will not hurt you. And it will make you feel really good. And you know what? My cat used to love to eat comfrey. I mean, when she wasn't feeling good, she would just, and I would bring the comfrey leaves in. I mean, I remember one time she would, I was wondering how to get some into her because she wasn't doing well. And here I come in, I have the leaves all laying there. And I come in and there's nothing but the very tip of a leaf hanging out of her mouth. She didn't waste any time eating it. And I mean, this is a leaf that was this long. I mean, with the stem, the leaf was like this long. I don't know if you can see, it was
Yeah.
huge. And then the stem was almost the same length. She'd eaten the whole damn thing. Okay.
Hmm.
So, and she was happy and she was actually feeling better. So, what they're trying to tell us it's toxic. It's like, okay, here's another one. What do they want you to do during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, ladies? What do they want you to do? Yeah, they want you to get a mammogram. What is a mammogram?
It's like an X-ray, huh?
Ra- Radioactive boob smusher.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You're subjecting your boobs to this smushing, and you're also subjecting it to radiation. What causes cancer? You know, radiation is cumulative. So if you're getting this every year, and it's cumulative. Every time you do that, you're raising your chance of getting breast cancer.
Oh, but D, it's the benefits of catching potential cancers early is worth any risk. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh my God. If you're a woman, you're really up for it. You're really up for it. But you know what? I'm wondering testicular cancer exists. You guys don't have any machine like that to put your balls in, do you?
No.
No.
I'm not even down with that prostate shit. I'm just no.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
You know why though? You wouldn't do it. Guys
No.
wouldn't do it. They wouldn't get them to do it. If guys had to put their balls in a machine, a ball smusher, radioactive
Uh,
ball smusher, there is no fucking way they would get them to do it, right?
mm-mm.
No fucking way. Okay, that's what I think. That's the only reason they haven't tried to do it. Because they tried to do other stuff. Yeah, they tried to do the prostate thing with you guys.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I'm like, bullshit, bullshit.
Yeah,
So
I will say I've definitely been hearing the whole return to holistic and natural medicine, and the only really one of the good things that's came out of the last 4 or 5 years is people are now thinking more along those lines, because they really had everybody all in on this idea that the only reason we live in as long as we live is because the wonders of modern medicine, and when that's really the thing that's taking most people out at the end of the day.
actually, yeah. modern medicine hasn't been. Actually, it was even worse in the Middle Ages, where they'd bleed you
Yeah.
and shit like that. Pour what they had. They'd pour mercury in your ear to get
Mm.
rid of your STD.
That's something I wanted to ask you about because I heard a little bit about it. Like in my great grandma's era, the big thing was castor oil, right? And
Right.
I've heard that that is actually it is good for you, and in some instances, but that's something that nobody ever is. That's not a home remedy anymore as far as modern
Right. Although
generations.
it was a home remedy for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
You know what? And the people, eh, eh, I think that's why they were killing witches, is because people weren't dying fast enough.
yeah.
The witches would give you something that wouldn't kill you. It wouldn't kill you. No, they wanted you to be bled and poisoned, I guess.
And see,
Everybody,
and the only way to make sense of this, like for me, if you have to think to yourself, like, first of all, who is motivated to want to do that?
yeah.
These people are very educated. That they learned all the stuff I learned, and they just bypassed all of that. But it's like, what motive could it possibly be that somebody would even want to? I know I don't want to harm anybody like that. When I was thinking about farming, I wanted to do the most cleanest, healthiest food that I could provide, possibly provide. Just, I don't want to have that on my conscience where I harm somebody else because I wanted to take a shortcut or because I wanted to, make a bigger paycheck. I mean, that's really dark as far as like you got to have a
Yeah.
dark psyche to even not be bothered by that if you're involved in
Well, so is there any wonder
that.
that we talk about these people cannot be human?
Right. That's it. That's the only logical place you can go because it makes no sense.
Why would you do that to another human? Well, maybe that isn't what's happening. Maybe somebody who's not human is doing that to humans.
Yeah, because it's not just money. That's it's just to make money. No, they already had all the money.
No,
It's
that's
not
just
that.
the argument I use with normies because they can't take the truth. They can't
Yeah,
handle the truth. I say, well, money, there's a lot of money in it. But there's a lot more than that.
that really is the only thing people will believe is the money thing.
Yeah.
And I guess
That's
it's just
what they'll
everybody
do.
has that greedy kind of, and I get it. We're in that world where, your money is it's your whole value in this society, especially. So, but that's not enough. I mean, like you got to be really disconnected from everything to be that lost or
Yeah.
material.
Well, you know, uh, Gates had a real good friend named Epstein.
Yeah, I did a video on that the other day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How much do you
Funny,
think
but
he did?
funny, everything that dude aspired to do seems to be exactly what happened in 2020. Isn't that odd? Exactly what he wanted to do.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's very odd.
It's
Must
very
be a hell
odd.
of a coincidence. Yeah.
Hell of a coincidence. Yes. I mean, geez, who'd have thunk that?
Right.
I think the world is kind of beginning to notice that now. Some
I
of us
hope.
are. Um, yeah, most people probably believe Google. Yeah. Oh, that's the first thing they do is say, well, Google it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Lewis is saying Diddy is much worse than Epstein. Yeah, he probably is. I wonder if when he finally goes down, will he mysteriously off himself? um,
Well, he was actually uh, for about 5 years. He was the exclusive boyfriend to one of those tiny hat wear, one of the really big wigs over there. His name comes up a lot, Clive, Clive Davis. But it's just funny
Mhm.
how that guy, he's connected all the time. He was connected to the Whitney Houston stuff. But boy, we just gloss over that. Everybody's talking about Diddy, but they're not talking about the next level up.
No, no, because, oh, saw today they might do lockdowns in the USA because of bird flu. Right. I was just talking about the bird flu. They're
Lockdown.
trying anything to stop the election. Exactly. That's what's really happening. That's
Yeah,
what's really happening.
this election cycle is very weird because we've had
Uh,
no debates. It's like what happened to the primaries? We don't have any of that this year. It's like it's Trump versus Biden. It's been this way for 4 years now. It's like it's already been decided. So that's why I'm like,
Here's the thing. It's like it's been the craziest now. Always. Election period, the election
yeah,
year always drove me completely nuts. Okay? Because people would get weird about their candidate and they would be voting with their party, not really so much on the candidate, but with their party, which always drove me crazy. But then I'm like, this last time, it has been election season for 4 years.
yeah.
It's been
And
election season forever.
I think it
Endless
was
election season.
another strange coincidence is I believe it was either 2016. It could have been 2020. No, no, no. It wasn't. No, it definitely was. I think it was 2016. The During the Republican primary season when they were trying to see who was going to win the Republican nomination, they had 19 Republican candidates. Remember, one of those debates, they had so many that they could only invite half of them, but they had 19 of them. I find that to be a weird coincidence, too. Like some foreshadowing, you know what I mean?
Yes.
19 of them?
19.
Come on, man.
19. Interesting. 19 was the year we had what?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Interesting. And they're absolutely obsessed with numbers. Yeah. Yeah. So, all we can do, folks, this is important, is once again, this is why I'm saying, remember you're divine. Remember that the way that you speak, the way that you think, the way that you intend is the way it's going to go. So while we're sitting here and talking all this trash really about it, remember we can change this whole thing across the board. This is not a message of gloom and doom. I am not saying we're doomed. We're not at all.
No, I don't believe in the doom thing. I mean, it gets dark, yeah, because you look around and you see so many people that, seemingly just don't even want to take any interest in it. But even when I was going to school for psychology, I was already a big believer just in my own personal life experiences and where I'd gotten to at that point. I'm a big believer in the power of awareness. I credit, a lot of people could probably look at me from the outside and they're like, oh, this guy's a little nutty and he's so emotional. No, I'm just very aware. I don't suppress emotions. And I know if I'm in a situation, like if it's a living situation or even a relationship, if I'm in a if I'm in a bad environment, that affects me negatively. So I know I have to change my environment. And to me, I
Absolutely.
credit all of that to awareness. So, my hope is that people will become aware. And it is empowering when you realize, like you said, intentions matter. I'm a big believer in that.
Absolutely.
So, and when I talk about things,
Years.
it's usually an intuitive, I'll say almost like a download. And it's not comfortable to do. I don't like being the guy that's pointing out negative things, but when I point those things out in my own little circle, I notice in the next 2, 3 days, all these other people that I watch and they seem like they're tapped in, they
Yeah,
start repeating the same things that came to me in my download. So things like that give me hope.
me
That lets me
too.
know there's bigger things here at work than just material, you know?
Me too. I've said it often. And by the way, if anybody else wants to talk, there's the link. Wants has a thing to say. Here's the thing: is I think we're all getting these downloads. Yes, because I think it's the truth. We're being given the truth. We're being given. Uh, I have said I've looked around. There are other people starting to say the same things that I have said.
Yep.
I mean, there's even people starting to call it frequency four instead of D4, frequency four and frequency five instead of D5, 5D, whatever.
Hmm.
They're starting to call it frequency because what is it really? It's a frequency. The dimension part and the density part just confuses the hell out of people. But what it really is it's a frequency. And I am not feeling bad about all those, even though I am complaining about all of this. Okay. I'm not feeling like we're doomed. I will not accept doom. I will not, because we are God having a human experience. And the faster we wake up to that, and the more that I assert that, and the more that I assert that I and everybody else is God, the more that I do that, the better my life gets. My life has gotten way better since I have taken responsibility. The responsibility. We're the creators of all this. We are the creators of the Matrix. Don't hate the Matrix. We made the Matrix. There's some reason we made the Matrix, right? We wanted to learn something. Don't hate the Matrix. Don't hate the makers of the Matrix. That's us. We made it. Realize, though, we own it. But that means since we own it, we can control it. And once you start figuring out how to control it, then that is literally a game changer. So that's why I have this show. I am determined. We are going to change this fucking game to our own advantage. Because maybe too many people that were too negative got a hold of this somehow, you know, got a hold of this idea somehow and just kind of ran with it. It just, there's all kinds of reasons. But
They're hijackers, and they're the controlled opposition. Because, like you
yeah,
said, nature is a matrix. I'll give you that. It's the natural matrix. Well, mathematics, science, all that good shit, medicine, none of that exists without nature. But what they've done is they've compartmentalized this idea of matrix into smaller things, just like the Matrix movie. It was about him working his job, thinking that was the reality, this and that, until he woke up to the bigger idea, right?
hmm
That's that's the way out of this thing, I think, is just realizing that the natural order is the way. Everything else is just trying to
yeah.
co-opt that. So that
And
there's your
who
key.
listened to science what the natural order is? They wouldn't know the natural order if it fell on them. If it
Right.
went up their nose, they wouldn't know natural. They
They
don't
definitely
understand.
hate it. They definitely want to change it. They want to do everything they can against it. But hey, the Earth has been here longer than any of our lifetimes. So I'm going
Absolutely.
with the star player. I'm going with the big guy. I'm not trying to worship the math god and the science god, and those are lesser gods in my opinion, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I do believe that there's this big or overarching consciousness, but we're all a part of it. But as a collective, we know everything, probably. No, it would have to be that way.
Well,
So,
I can say this. I've had, you know, fairly high levels of formal education. Um, I'm very I'm very intuitive. I do a lot of do it yourself. I'm self taught with a lot of things, and I I probably read in my whole life. I probably completed less than 5 whole books in my life that I've actually read cover to cover. I don't study for tests. I don't do any of that shit. All that came from
mhm,
within.
yeah.
So how else can you explain that if it's not from somewhere else? You know, I'm not a genius. I'm a little above average. You know, on the IQ scale,
Well,
probably
I'm a little
somewhere.
above
But
average, but we won't talk about that. I was
yeah,
almost in Mensa, but I decided not to.
yeah.
So,
So there's definitely something to that. Bigger
but
than
yeah, but that is not how it's coming. It's coming uh, not from, if it was coming from the information I'm reading, I wouldn't have it. Look at
yeah,
the we've been told the wrong thing our whole lives. We've been told lies our whole lives. If it was coming from that, it would be wrong. The
yeah,
only truth we are having is coming from downloads. It's the only truth we ever get. We don't get truth from anywhere else anymore. Nothing. I just, everything we're told, it's so confused. Everything, there's disinfo, there's info, there's disinfo, there's disinfo.
And look, I have to tell people this too. Um, I quit my full time job. I was working with the state. I'd been with them for 10 years. I quit in 2009. Like I had kind of this epiphany, self discovery. I don't know, I had an awakening in like around 2008. And I had always been like a go along, do what everybody else is doing and try to make it through this life. You do what everybody else is doing to get where you want to go. And none of that worked out. And to a certain point, I made a decision. I was like, this ain't working. So I'm just going to I took a leap of faith. I quit my job. I went back to school. I wanted to do this farming thing. And I haven't had a full time job paycheck since 2009. I should be under a bridge. I should be dead a long time ago. And, you know, I'm not,
Yeah, me too.
I got a paid off house. I'm on paid off land. I got all the music equipment I ever wanted. I got beautiful
Good
pets
for
that I didn't
you.
ask
I haven't
for.
got all that shit now
I
yet.
can't fucking explain that, D. I'm guided to where I'm at. This is, I've done nothing. You said you lived on 100. I get nothing. I have zero income for 15 years and I'm
I had
okay.
$108 and somehow was living on $108 in town. I didn't have the land or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, granted, yeah, I got my land because my grandpa died and he left this as family land. I'm not discounting that I had a couple lucky breaks, no doubt. But I tell you what, definitely like I was not supposed to be in college. I definitely was not supposed to be in grad school. But I can
No.
tell you when I went there, the information that I learned from that prepared me for 2020. I knew exactly what was happening day one because of what I situations I was put in that I didn't understand at the time, and all of a sudden it made perfect sense. And I can't explain that without some kind of divine guidance. And that's honest truth. That's the truest shit I ever said.
I
So there's
believe
definitely, yeah, there's definitely something bigger here.
there is something much bigger. Indy, honestly, I'm right with you there, brother. I am right
Yeah.
down the line with you. I am where I am. I am in a much better place, but I know I'm just on the way to an even better place. It's going to come in steps, probably, but I'm going to get my place. I know I am. Gradually, I'm getting better. I was very sick. You guys didn't know me at my sickest. You didn't know me then, but um, I was pretty sick for a while. I was wondering if I was going to pass on. Actually, I think I was on the verge of passing on, and that's why David showed up. He came to collect me in case I decided to go ahead and go with it. That was before I moved here. You guys didn't know me. There were times when I was even worse though. Um, but somehow I always find a reason to keep living. Uh, I think that's the main thing. But if they manage to kill everything within you, all of the joy, people are not going to put up with it. People are just going to say, I give up. I'm not going to bother to try and live now. And I'm seeing some of that. They're not going to bother to try and do anything. And here's another thing, though, the joke's on them. They think they're going to have a war. Gen Z is not going to show up for the war. They just won't show up.
Yeah.
They just won't. Because why should they? They have no reason to. So here you go. They've done it to themselves. The shoe's going to be on the other foot, and I think this is what we're going to see. Shoe is going to be on the other foot. The other shoe is going to drop, whatever you want to call it. We're going to see things turn around in the weirdest ways, and you know, yeah, exactly, Mary. It's all inside of us already. It's already inside of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lewis, maybe I should do a video on pendulums and stuff so that everybody's clear about that. But yeah, you do want to be kind of careful when you do any kind of tool, when you use any kind of tool for working. Um, you really need to be sure that it's better if you take the proper precautions. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. If you use it properly, you're going to be okay. It's safe. If you don't use it properly, it's not going to, things can happen. We have stuff buried deep in our psyches that can really cause a problem. So, and sometimes it's us. It's us. We're creating the problem because we have these deep traumas associated. That's what I talk about, the iceberg and the onion layers. And a lot of this is us putting spells on ourselves, basically, because we have the power to do that. We totally can deceive ourselves. We're really good at it. So it's not just the outside influence, but the inside influence. We've got to, what are we basing those opinions on? What are we basing our views on? This is why I do so many clearings. I do so many clearings so we can get rid of that shit, right? We can get rid of all the accumulated shit in our psyches that have been put there. So has it been put there maybe to make the game very hard? Are we operating? Some of us are operating in at the very high level, where if it was a game, it would be turned way up, right? We're in those days where we're at the levels where the game is turned way up. I mean, when you're playing any kind of a game, you've got levels. We're at a higher level now.
Yeah, this is Super Bowl, I think. I think we're
Yeah.
it might be halftime, but
There's going to
this
be some
is
boss fights. Yeah.
yeah.
So, we've got some boss fights coming up. Okay, fine. We know that now. Now that we know that. So, really, as creators, we just got to figure out how my job as I take it is just getting people as prepared as I can, helping people find their divinity as best I can, giving them maybe some tips, tricks, and hacks that I've learned, giving people a platform to share their knowledge and their findings with others, which is what I'm doing right now by opening this up. Okay. By saying, hey, come on up here and tell us what you want to tell us. So, and so many points you've made have been you've never been on my stage before, have you?
I came up one other time. I forget what we were talking about then. Then we were just kind of
I
shooting the shit.
think you were once. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so that is another thing I'm doing is I'm giving other people also an opportunity to say their piece so that we can all be enlightened by what happened to you. Because I think sharing our experiences is the only way we get through this. I mean, together is the way through. We all go together. It helps. It's like helping each other, sharing our information, sharing our knowledge. On the grassroots level, we cannot count on the news. There is no such thing as the news anymore. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Everything on mainstream news is
That's its
bullshit.
own little matrix.
Yeah, it's its own thing. Citizen journalists are the only way to go. That's it. You know, that's all we got that's going to ever tell us the truth is other people like us, boots on the ground, living in those areas. We don't know what's really happening in an area until we hear it from boots on the ground, people that live there. They can tell you all kinds of bullshit about what's happening on the other side of the world. We don't know because we're not there. But now, the same tool that they are using to control us, we are using to get control. That's the internet. And I think that's one of the big things is we do have the internet, if for good or for and it really is a double-edged sword. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, I definitely like before 2020, just growing up in life in general. I always felt completely uh in my own experience, like no one else really related and saw things the way I saw it. So I used to always say because the way I was raised, like I was raised by a stepdad. I didn't know my
hello, we lost sound, Indy. We lost sound.
oh, I'm sorry, I hit the mic button.
Okay.
I forget where I was at, but I always attributed it my different way of seeing things from the people around me in my local area growing up. I just said, well, I was kind of raised different. I wasn't raised in the same two-parent household as everybody else, and this and but when all this happened, and that was in 2020 was the first time that I actually used social media in this way to connect with people to talk about really this kind of life stuff outside of just hobbies or this, that, and other. And it it was really eye opening when I first started connecting with people from the UK and Scotland and Australia and people in South America and just all these different places who when they would tell their story, I was like, holy shit, that's exactly they had the same ideas and
Exactly.
experiences that I had. So that helps.
We're not more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
We
We
really
was all
are.
kind of the same age. A lot of us had the same kind of struggles with relation. A lot of us are single, and you know what I mean. It's like,
You know what? I think a lot of us are single, and I think It's in a lot of cases we don't want to compromise. A lot of us don't want to have to deal with a spouse that maybe is going to keep us from going whatever way we have to go in this world. Because, in so many ways, I think marriage is a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap. And um,
And we
it
have
keeps,
really high ideals. We're very high-minded ideally. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing I noticed with people. Like we have a strong view of how things should be. And growing up, it was always everybody telling me, "Well, that's just the way things are. Things will never change." But boy, did they change! Huh. Things sure in the hell did change. You know what I mean? So
and they're going to change more.
yeah,
And we're going to be the change. We are the change. We are.
and we need to change. It was actually time. 2020 was definitely,
The
you
wake
know,
up call.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it was test time.
So I'm totally hopeful. I totally know we're going to make it. I totally know we've already won. And we've won because we're God. And I'm sorry, but we can't lose. No, I'm not sorry at all. Not really
Mm.
sorry. We can't lose. Okay? We got to keep it in mind. We can't really lose. Now let's address this question. Do we believe, okay, is asking Woo Writers is saying, do you think aliens are working with the global elites? I think some of them are. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a kind of a foregone conclusion for me. The there's some things that are just a foregone conclusion with me. Cryptids exist. I don't know if every single one of them does that anybody's described, but I know that they exist. That there is a group of uh, life forms that are not well studied, not documented by science, and not accepted. And I know that they 100% exist. And I'm not going to discount everybody who's ever seen, which is in the millions now, who's ever experienced them. I know that. Okay, I know that. I know there are ETs in the sky. I know there are ships in the sky. I've seen them. I've communicated with them. People can think that's funny, weird. Oh gosh, this woman is communicating with aliens mentally, through mind speak. I don't really give a fuck. I don't really give a fuck. That's a reality. What they tell me is true, so I don't give a fuck. What I know, I'm mind speaking with the forest people, the Sasquatch. People can think that's crazy. I don't give a fuck. What they tell me is true. I get information from them and it's true. I get this information and it's true. I get light language. People say, oh, where is that coming from? Well, I can't. I'm guessing it's my higher self. It's the only thing I can think of. Some version of me, maybe. Some version of one of my guides. But it helps. It works. What the hell do you want? If something works, it works. That's all that really matters to me. If the information's true, it's true. If it works, it works. If people are seeing it, something's there. If people are experiencing it, then something's happening. What the hell? That is just basic empirical science, as far as I'm concerned. If
Yeah,
everybody is seeing something, it's there. Something's there. Maybe not. Okay, I'll admit, maybe it's not what we think it is, but something is there. Okay? I mean,
yeah,
what else is there? What do we have to rely on anymore?
yeah. I was thinking about this yesterday about this aliens thing. Because I've never seen anything, so I don't have a direct experience with that. But I do. I like I explained earlier. I definitely I have a, like you said, it's either a higher self, guardian angel, ancestors, God, whatever it is. Something is, my intuition is tapped into that, whatever that is. And I, as far as this aliens thing go, or because you gotta ask yourself, well, why are some people driven by this evil agenda? Maybe they're connected to a dark connection, whatever that is. And I'm thankful for whatever I'm connected to hasn't led me to be a dark, evil person to do those sort of things. So I'm grateful for that. But I do leave room for the possibility that some of these other people might be connected to one of these negative forces. And I used to have this friend. He was my DJ mentor, really. He taught me the most about DJing in the early days. He was a big aliens guy. He lives in Florida now, and he's actually went to those Sasquatch or Bigfoot conferences with other people who have seen and had experiences. And he's told me personally about his experiences and weird things that he's had contacts with, certain strangers that have said weird shit to him. And so I was thinking about this yesterday, and me and him don't talk anymore because he kind of moved away. But I was thinking, I was like, how do I really feel about that? Because I'm on the fence about the aliens thing, but I'm like, you know what? If I could talk to that guy today, I'd be like, look, I don't personally have an alien encounter experience to draw from, but I know this guy, I know you well enough, and I trust you and know you're a good intentioned person. You're not going to mislead people on purpose just for attention. I believe that you had your experiences were legit. And so I just accept that, hey, certain people have a certain role where they're meant to see these sort of things. Maybe that's what they needed to be spiritual, or, you know what I mean? I think we are kind of, I believe that the spirit world knows how it needs to talk to and connect to all of us. And it's probably a little bit different. And I just think that some people make a willing choice to ignore their message, their downloads, and some of us don't. And I think it's just different for all of us. So that's the way that I kind of encompass everybody's experiences. And even though they're not my experiences, I don't discount what other people say. And, some of the more specific stuff, when people start using names and they, like the people that believe they're from Palladia and all that kind of shit, like that gets a little out there for me. But I'm like, so be it. But I'm also a big part when it comes to this religion stuff. Like I'm cool with being spiritual. I'm cool with the God thing, even though the word God is kind of problematic. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put a name on Jesus. I'm not gonna fucking sit here and debate whether it's Yahweh or Jehovah, or that's not important to me. And when people get really dug into those types of beliefs, then I start thinking that it's more indoctrination and it's not so much personal, honest experiences. So
But I mean, there are people that will fight you. I will use that only to say, I'm sorry, but if you're basing your whole life on King James, it's a
yeah,
lie. And I can prove it with one word, Jesus. There was no J at that time.
and
There was
and
no J in biblical times. There is still no J in the Hebrew alphabet.
and that's why I question when people say that they saw Jesus. And I always well, what did he look like? Because if he looked like the blue hair, the blue-eyed, long-haired hippie Jesus, then we got a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? But I think ascended masters will quite often come to people in forms that they can handle.
There you go. That's why I said what I said a while ago. It knows how to talk to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if if say Saint Francis was a dog man, If you had a dog man show up to you, people would be afraid. I mean, people would maybe mistake you for a demon. So St. Francis maybe shows up to people differently. What? Wow.
Cowboy said
Right?
it's a cat man, not a dog man. Huh.
Well, Catman knows. Catman knows everything, doesn't he? Catmans are better than dogmans, right? That old dog man, he don't know nothing. He don't know nothing compared to us cats. We know all kinds of stuff. We're from Lyra. We're natural born healers. We all we have to do is just purr and we're healing people. How you like them apples?
I do think it's interesting that dog is God backwards.
I think that is interesting. We've
Yeah.
always humorous.
Because hey, if God is a dog, I feel really good about that because I've
Well,
done my
dogs
dog
are
duties.
conditionally loved.
Yeah.
So hey, okay. I'm not really a dog person, but I'm not a dog person either. I mean, they're fine too. I mean, the only thing is I get along a little better, I think, with cats, and that's really because I'm also kind of solitary, in a lot of
Well,
ways.
I have three cats also, but they're all outside. But yeah, they're all
You
I love
kind of
all of them.
understand kitties, and dogs are fine. They love everybody. I mean that's their basic natures. They love everybody. So I mean they're also great companions. I had dogs that I absolutely adored, and it's just that in an apartment much easier with a cat.
Oh, it's a lot of
I've
work.
been with kittens lately. So dogs, I see these people with their dogs and their um always having to go out and walk them even in this really horribly freezing
Yeah.
weather. If I was living somewhere where it was a little bit more even, where the weather was a little bit more even, having a dog wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I don't want to have to be out walking a dog in sub-zero weather, you
Oh
know,
yeah, it's not.
and then
It's
picking up their poop, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so, no.
it's a lot of work, but
So, a cat, well, at least they're pooping in a box. It's all in one spot. I can just take that and throw it in a plastic garbage bag and dump it. And that's it. But it's just oh, you noticed that the cat meowed when I said demon. Well, he doesn't like demons. He don't like them. He wants to cuddle. That's true. He's saying, "It's late. Mommy, you were gone all day. When are you going to cuddle me?" Yeah. When are you going to cuddle me, Mom? I'm going to have to rub his belly while I'm talking if I want to keep talking. Yeah, this planet is a lot older. People are a lot older. Human beings are a lot older than they say. Uh, this bullshit that they think that we were cavemen and we did this and we did that. Humans are
hey,
billions of years old. There were cavemen. They were probably de-evolution. I mean, after you bomb people to hell and look at these melted cities, yeah, I guess cavemen might be a de-evolution, or they might be a variant strain of human, but nah.
well, I had a professor in my grad school who he was an esteemed expert in evolutionary psychology, which is explaining basically how the human mind has evolved over time. It's this big storylines that they've cooked up, and he he presented that to us, and I found the fatal flaw in his argument, and I pointed it
Mhm.
out in real time. I stopped him and asked him a legit question, and he sat there for a few seconds and he threw his hands up and shrugged his shoulders and just looked down and went right back down to reciting the story. But I could tell you, they have no idea. They've made up this story and they went with it. But he tried to explain to me that, those sites in, I think it's Machu Picchu, the big destroyed megaliths, the big stone structures.
Mm-hmm.
The story goes that those sites were created as basically like an educational meeting place to teach all the surrounding tribes basically this brand new and first technology, which was in their mind agriculture. Okay, so agriculture in their storyline was the first big technology that caused man to go from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a more civilized agricultural base. We've all heard this plenty of times, right, about agriculture being what. And he said that this Machu Picchu was basically built for that purpose. So I raised my hand. Whoa. I said, well, if agriculture was the first technology, what technology was used to build these megalithic sites? And he couldn't answer that.
Exactly.
So I just destroyed his whole life's work, basically, with that one question. And he didn't have an answer for it.
This is why they're so forbidden.
Right.
It's a house of cards.
Yep.
Everything's based on a house of cards. And there are chinks in the army being discovered all the time. There are flaws being discovered all the time. Now, see, that's something that we've all got to just keep bringing the truth. And you have to find a real, because you don't generally have much time to do this. You have to find a real, inarguable, compact, straightforward way of doing it, or they're going to argue into oblivion, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't go back too far, because if you have to take 2 or 3 steps to explain it, you've lost them. They'll find something wrong. What you got to do is come up with something that they cannot refute.
Keep it simple.
Very simple. Yes.
And I think it was Einstein or one of those guys from back then who's quoted or given credit for the quote that says, simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Terence McKenna also said something that resonated very well with me, that nobody is smarter than you, meaning that your experience should be trumping everything else.
Yes.
Stop reading books. Books are just other people's ideas. And again, you talked about King James, you brought that up. My religious people, they don't ever want to hear anything about all that. They'll tell you, well, that those people, the man wrote that book, yes, but they were divinely inspired to write it. Okay, well, you know what? I'm divinely inspired to write my music. I'm divinely inspired to come up with my own wacky thoughts about everything. What
Yeah.
makes me any different than any of those old guys? Just the fact that y'all want to look at a bunch of 100-year-old, quote, scholars as being smarter than you and having all these secrets that they've been hiding all this shit from us. You're all that matters.
Seriously, I think probably everything they're telling us is false is true. And it's just, I'm to the point where if they say jump this way, if they say zig, I'm going to zag.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to assume zag is the way to go. I'm
Or
sorry.
I'm definitely thinking about, okay, what's that third option?
Yeah. What's the third option?
Yeah,
Exactly.
because that
Exactly.
I don't buy into that.
If they're trying to squeeze us down to two, see, that's what
Yes.
they're trying to do with this election.
Yep.
Trying to squeeze us down to two. And they've been trying that for a long time because we all know that the third party ain't nothing. They never win, right?
The
Third
true
party.
third party is the people who are disillusioned and not voting, not taking part in it. And there's way more of us in that camp than there are this left and right shit,
Mhm.
especially
So,
nowadays.
mhm. So really, there will come a time when we won't have to do this. We won't have to elect leaders like that. Eventually, when we all can tell the truth for ourselves, when we are not having to rely on other people, I've said this so many times. I'm trying to bring forth these skills in everybody because we need to know the truth for ourselves, not through anybody else. It's the only way. We cannot trust the truth to come through other people. Now, it's good. Like reading books is good. Paul is a big book person. I used to be a big book person. I love information, but we must remember they are only ideas based on these people's experiences. If there's something useful in there, then absolutely.
Right.
If it's resonating with you, and that's what we talk about resonance. If it's resonating with you. And these things are important to remember. People will accept things at the level that they're at. You have to kind of meet people there's some things they will never accept at their own level of consciousness. And it's interesting because I'm told that Aramaic was a language that spoke to people differently in different. It was designed to speak with people with different levels of consciousness. So if you had a rather low level of consciousness, you'd hear one thing. If you had a very high level, you would read between the lines and you would understand it in a different way. So it was actually a very elegant language. You could say something in Aramaic and have it speak to everybody on their own level. And I think this is why we have all of the old time teachers telling parables, because there are things that you can't describe any other way. There's information you can't transmit any other way than telling stories. So, and people love to hear stories. That's just natural. So, what are they talking about? Let's see what we're talking about down here. Most giants are underground. Yeah, I think so. If the technology was shared, your everyday common folk would surpass them. Yes, I believe that's true. Angel Wings is saying, yeah, start something physically and don't just talk crap and do nothing. Exactly. Conversations like this are important to move the needle forward. Yes. Think that's why I repeat myself, but the word differently at time. Okay, to hit the different perspectives. See, that's just it. Um, what I do, I have. That's another thing is when we believe something, we also have to have our actions match our words. So if I believe that, if I believe in something, I should be willing to back that up with action. And I think probably that's why I'm willing to do so many dangerous things. So I've done some freaking dangerous things in the course, and I have done some things that some psychics would just be like, "Are you motherfucking kidding me? I'm not gonna do that. It's fucking dangerous." You know what you could do? You could do. You know, I have done some things that were just absolutely gigantic and scary, and and any time that you're trying to stand your ground, it can be scary too about anything, because people can be so. People, here's the number one thing that we were told as kids that I think is the biggest piece of baloney, right? It doesn't matter what people think of you. People will
Yeah.
fucking kill you if they think the wrong thing.
Oh
Okay?
yeah.
There were people who got killed, tortured, and killed in horrific ways because people thought of them a certain way. I have been treated horrifically
I'm living
because
proof of
people,
that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
because people thought of me a certain way. I mean, I've had that happen to me. So bullshit. But having the guts to push past that, even though you know. Hey, Kitty. Kitty made it in. What happened to Scotty and Chloe? There's somebody else on. Maybe somebody else's show came on. I don't know. Maybe David came on or something. I don't know. Anyway, somebody else show maybe. But anyway, yeah, I'm sitting here going, hell yeah, you have to be careful of what people think of you. I don't associate with everybody for that reason. On the other hand, when I can, when I think that it is possible that somebody might listen, I do bring my stuff up. I do bring up the truth when they're actually asking, honestly asking, and not just bullshit. I mean, they're not just asking like ha ha ha, but honestly inquiring of me something. Then I will tell them something, but otherwise I won't even indulge. You know what? We're told not to throw our pearls before swine.
Right.
Okay? And what that just means is you don't give information to people who are absolutely unable to use it ever. They just have no clue. You are not required to share your wisdom with people who have absolutely no use for it, who have no understanding, no nothing. You know, no that it's just annoying to them. You know, all you're doing is just driving them farther away. So let them sleep. That's what I've learned. Let them sleep until they're ready to wake up. One day, though, I've had it happen many times when somebody comes along and they're like, what the fuck's going on? Do you know? I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think we're going to see a lot more coming up of people that are going to be, coming up to us going, do you know
Well,
something about this?
I I've waited on the day for that. For me personally, because I know I've told some things to people, and I know somewhere inside them they know they should tell me that because they know I was right about something,
Oh, yeah.
and they've decided they just rather not. They cut me out, family, friends, and I'm okay with that because, like you were just saying, don't cast your pearls before swine. I've had to learn that, but at
Mhm.
the same time, I can't also be dishonest and act like I'm in agreement with their
Right.
lesser understandings.
I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I won't just sit there and like nod my head and agree with them.
right.
But on the other hand, I will not waste my breath trying to convince them of something that I know they cannot.
Because I don't
Mm.
get that anymore. Where you're talking about like people wanting to come up and just challenge you because they think they're going to stump you. They're not going to stump me because I've thought this shit out for a long time, and I've checked myself. And I'm not going to put something out there unless I'm ready to back it up. And I think people understand that, you know, if you're going to come at me, you're going to hear something you don't want to hear because
Right. And I
I've
will
thought
just
about
tell you
it.
right out. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about people coming up and saying, I have had this weird shit happen. And you seem like you know about weird shit. Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah.
Then I'll talk to you. In that case, if you're willing to come that far, it's like, okay, we'll talk. But then if you turn around and go, oh, no, that flies in the face of blah, 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 and it's against the King James Bible and whatever shit, I'll just say, well, okay, then. You
Yeah.
handle this on your own. You can just handle this on your own. That's fine then. You don't have to believe me. I don't care. You know what? I don't have to save anybody's soul. I'm not under any kind of, where some of these people are like, but we have to save people. It's like, no, mm-mm. They're not ready for it. I am not under any obligation to
What?
save anybody.
Who are the worst offenders though of wanting to save other people? It for me, it's been these religious people. They think that they have the obligation that they have to go out and harvest
Yeah.
all these souls and shit. And another thing I'll say,
They
I
have to
know
go
for me,
disrupt your whole life and way of being. So, yeah, to
yeah,
save you somehow. Yeah.
that's what the book told them, right? You know, there's some dogma told them that.
Mhm.
But here's another difference I see. Like, I know for me personally, I'm cool with associating with religious people. I'm cool with associating with anybody on any level. They don't have to
Yeah.
agree with my experiences. What I found though is, yeah, I can be that person for them, but they cannot be that person for me. Their beliefs trump any sort of relationship, experiences. It's like that is their golden rule or that's their guide.
Mhm.
And that's the sad part for me. That's the hardest part for me is like, yeah, I accept anybody. If your heart is good, if your intentions are good, I don't care about your wacky book beliefs. That's okay. But
Well,
they'll
if you're
sure in
not
the hell judge
harming
me.
people, I mean, if you're like harming people and doing like pedophilia or something,
Oh
that's
yeah,
not
definitely.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if that's the kind of shit you're doing, something really harmful, that's different. But I think I have enough itches in my hair that I think I might have got a tiny ant or something in there. So I'm brushing my hair out. So pardon me here. That's why I'm doing that. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it's ridiculous. The way that people will try to fool themselves, and then they'll come up on you. And then what used to happen all the time, they'll come up on you, want a reading, and then turn around and condemn you for being a reader.
Yeah.
I used to do that, and I'm like, well, I ain't gonna fucking read for you if you're gonna
Huh.
do that. I'm not. I don't have to share my gifts with you if you don't respect it. It's like, why should I? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, but if you're doing something that really is like, you know what? I even get to the point where if you're in a profession like you're radiating people, you're a radiologist. I'm like, okay, you're a radiologist. You're basically radiating people. They
Yep.
think they're doing a good thing. They think they're somehow helping people. I'll talk to you, but I really honestly think you're like darkening your soul and the souls of other people. And I'm not going to trust your thought processes because obviously You can't think your way out of a paper bag, or you know that this is the wrong way to go about this, right? So I really have no trust in most of um, typical, modern medicine. Um, when I hear that somebody's going to become a radiologist, I'm sorry, I have a prejudice. I'm like, why? And of course, they just look at me like, well, because people need that, because it makes a lot of money and blah,
Yeah,
blah,
it
blah.
pays well.
I'm like, God help us.
I used to think about, see, the big thing down here as far as jobs go, it's you either work in one of these chemical plants because they make the good money, or you go offshore and you work the oil rigs. And of course, if you work an oil rig or you work one of these chemical plant jobs, yeah, you're gonna get all the girls, and you making all the money, you driving the nice vehicles and the big house and shit, and it's built up to be this great thing. But for me, it was like, you're helping destroy the earth. Now I understand, and we
Yeah.
need oil, and there's a certain amount of this and that, and so I've kind of softened my stance on that a little bit. I get it, but it really is, you're taking part in a destructive activity, and I didn't never want to be a part of that. That's why I got out of IT work in the 2000s, because I was seeing where it was going, and I didn't want to be a part of that. The same thing with psychology. When I went into school for psychology, I didn't want to be a psychiatrist and give people drugs. I didn't believe in that. I believed
Yeah,
in
because now we're not talking about healing people. We're talking about doping people up. We're talking about
exactly.
giving them drugs. And you know what? Most of these drugs aren't even properly tested.
Yeah, and they told me that in
We're
school.
not even sure that they do
The
anything.
SSRIs, they said we really don't know how they work. And they even said that it only really has like a 30% success rate with people and shit. And I'm like, that's the best you can do? Well, maybe
Yeah,
y'all need to think of some different shit. Because I never heard them say
absolutely.
in any of my psychology classes, they never addressed the environmental factors. It was always about quelling symptoms, or you got some kind of chemical imbalance. I'm like, well, what about just the nature versus nurture? That deals with environment. They never discussed that. It was always
Mhm.
chemical, genetic, all this kind of shit. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Mhm. I am lucky. When I was having problems, I did have a psychiatrist for a while. But when I said, look, I know how this is going to sound, but I felt comfortable enough with him that I could tell him, I saw my mother standing next to her casket at the viewing.
Huh.
I said, I saw that. Nobody can tell me I didn't see that. I know a lot of other people who have had the exact same experience.
I got
Nobody's
chills all over
gonna
my
tell
body when he
me.
said that.
Nobody's gonna tell me that's bullshit. I'm sorry. And you know what he told me? He said, I hear that so often, I cannot count it as being abnormal. I hear it so often, particularly the mother. People particularly see their mother. Sometimes they don't always see their father. Sometimes they see him too, but almost always they see their mother. Sometimes they see other ones too. He says it's so common, I cannot count it as being abnormal at all.
Well, respect to him for saying that, because a lot of them won't even go there.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but that's like, huh. I just breathed a sigh of relief. I'm like, good, because honestly, I know so many people that this has happened to, and there is no way that I'm going to sit there and but then there's people who are still, they're crazy.
Yeah.
What if you're the one that's crazy?
They've got the absolute explanation for everything. That's when you know you're dealing with somebody who don't know what the hell they're talking about. If you're that
Exactly.
cocksure about what you think you know, you you're not in the right.
Yeah,
You
you
don't really
probably
know.
don't know
Yeah.
much. What feeling did I get when I saw my mother? Well, a little bit of surprise, not entirely, because I expected to see her at some. But the thing that was surprising was the way that she showed up. She showed up, she just kind of spun around the way that she usually did. She was kind of a dizzy ding. And she was wearing the dress that she wore in the 50s. She looked like she did maybe in the 60s. Yeah, maybe 60s, more like 60s, when I was a kid. And she was with her friend, not dad, and not even her second husband. There was a friend beside her, Minnie, who died way before her. And I was kind of surprised at that. And I said to her, Mom, was it you that made the knocks on? Because I had been hearing knocks on my ceiling. I thought it was my neighbor doing something, upstairs neighbor. I said, Mom, was that you knocking on the ceiling? And she said, Yes. I said, Why? And she said, Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. And I'm like, What? So I'm like, No, that's got to be my mom because that's her sense of humor. Okay. She loved Tony, Orlando, and Don. So I'm like, okay, that's mom. That was her letting me know it was really her. Okay. Because I mean, really, seriously, that was me. That was her letting me know who she really was. So, and I know that sounds like a joke, but how did I feel about it? At first, I was a little surprised, like I said, but then later on, I figured it out. What my mother had been trying to tell me all my life is that she was actually, and even hiding it from herself and denying it to herself, she was a closet lesbian. She was in love with the woman that I saw with her, Minnie. And that's why she took that death so hard. And Cowboy is acting so weird. I think I got, what are you seeing, baby? Is mom here? Who's here? He's what? Where? Okay, Cowboy is really reacting. Something's going on here.
Huh.
He's like, oh, yeah, there's stuff around him. I mean, he's looking all around. He's like, what? You want to come up here? And he's meowing. He's like, he's just frisking all around. Like, you chasing fairies? What's going on? Or are they chasing you? He just saw something and ran away.
Hmm.
What the hell's going on? Anybody see anything that I'm not seeing? Okay. Oh, what are you doing? Okay, whoever's here. Oh, and I'll bring my guards in just in case. It's if anything negative managed to get in here, get it out. Thank you. Um, I'll bring my guardians in. Or is somebody trying to channel through? Oh, I'm getting the swimmy head thing.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh yeah, she. I was talking to her. Yeah, we had a conversation.
Mwah.
That EVP woke me. Yeah. Okay, really? Okay, so I'm getting the swimmy head. That usually means I'm supposed to do some light language. I'm supposed to channel something. I'm getting this weird feeling in my head. I'm hearing I'm hearing the bells. I'm hearing the energy sounds. Okay. I'm talking about spiritual things, and the cat is acting weird and looking at things that I can't see. I can't even see them. What are you seeing, baby? What are you seeing? He's seeing things all over the place. It's like he's just seeing things everywhere. Wow. Okay. Well, I've got my protection up. This can't be evil. I'm asking my helpers and my guides and my angels to be around me, protect me from anything that is untoward, evil, or negative in any way. And then I'm going to let whatever it is come through. So give me a minute here. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll describe it. I feel very expanded. The ringing, chirping, whatever tones. Actually, they're really just more like tones. Getting very much louder. Yeah, this always happens before. They're getting very loud now. It'll be any moment. Kato papatikarintiko, mbararo fro, dikata parikikaro, mrikari, mrikari. Dikaro, unikore mani dikata mani gari, warrior mani gari, dikata mani. Get out, Morgori. Oro, oro, yeah, but in get out, Picaria for a year, but in get water, money. Share, Krugi, Square, because photo, Corvia. Very fun of money, Carambar, in Carabram. For a barrier, how about every offshore, barrier, and Picator, a carco, Corvia, Carparis, Carabrim. Pick up, but get him po, and get a crick up and get a parade of naked water of Ningirum. What are medium, for a medium, for a get mask corona? Ayara, Ayabaril Hormony, Kitty Korea. Varium, Pergarium, Porium, Everium. Ira, a Broigarum. Waria, Irical home, Bayasco, Schoania. Mariara. Well, that was very forceful. Wow. I, what was that about? We don't have our translators here. Uh, I was getting that that was a he, I think this time. Male version of me, male somebody. I never know exactly, but I believe. Wait a minute, I got to kind of let the message fall on me. This is another thing that it's hard to explain how this happens. I think it's almost like we're going into battle. And this is a pep talk. This is like a protection and also a strengthening. It's going to get bad, but we're going to be protected. Stick with the truth. Don't don't let what's happening in the world change you. Be in the world, but not of it, basically. But wow. And now I'm hearing something that sounds like crickets and birds. everywhere, all over the place, all around me. Okay, we have a lot of help, but we're going into a very pivotal time right now. And we're going to feel very put upon, probably. It's going to look very bad. We're going to be, we're going to have to be strong. But it's saying, don't worry, you cannot be harmed by this as long as you stay in the light, as long as you stay grounded in the light. Don't buy into what you're being told. And you know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that was some kind of strengthening to ramp us up for this. So it's also kind of a warning. Yeah, it's going to be, and some of us have already noticed, wow, they're really out. Yeah, they really are. That's going to continue. It's going to ramp up. It's going to ramp up for a while. During the course of the summer, we're going to see a lot of stuff. Don't get involved. I'm getting a very strong warning. Don't get involved in any protest, any kind of weird protests or any kind of weird anything. Just send your energy to it. Do your do your energy work in a kind of a quiet way. There may be violence around. Um, there's going to be violence in some places. I okay, and there's going to be, as people are showing up, as the ones involved are shown and exposed, it's going to become very dangerous because people will be on different sides of it and people will be losing their minds, literally.
Yeah, that's
But it
inevitable.
has to happen. Yeah, it has to happen. Okay. So don't be disturbed by it. Just keep rising in frequency. Keep working on your frequency. Take care of yourselves. Don't neglect your health. Don't neglect your meditation, your spiritual work, that kind of thing, the kind of things that are sustaining you. Don't neglect it. Because that's going to be very important. Hmm. Yeah, exactly, Woo Riders. Things have to change for this to go away. I'm seeing that there's going to be, as even as things are crumbling, new things are going to be sprouting up. So it's going to be simultaneous, falling and rising. So, and some of it's going to happen very quickly, not over time, but very quickly, very abruptly. Some things. Okay, just to be advised. So we're not surprised, we're not shocked. There are going to be things that are going to be shocking even to us, even though we know a lot more than most people. There will be some things that will even surprise us. Surprise everybody, actually. Wow. Okay. So, but don't worry. I'm hearing very, 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 very strongly. Don't worry. We have your back. We have your back. It's like somebody's almost shouting that, don't worry, we have your back. You're going to be okay. To the most extent possible. You have many, many helpers. You have many beings working on this. You're not alone in this, ever. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it. Thanks. And then I'm just getting this feeling of calm and love. Just remain calm, raise your vibration, that kind of idea. Okay, I think that's the end of that. I think that's the end of that transmission. Thank you so much. But they don't want the fear is the opposite of what you need right now. Okay, this is the big thing, and I've said it before. Fear is the opposite emotion of what you need to get through this. Fear is not going to serve you.
Yeah, you got to get rid of all that. Just daily life. That's good advice.
Yeah. Do what you've been doing. Keep rising. Eventually, okay, my understanding is eventually we rise up to a point where we're out of their range. Okay, is what's really going on. It is a vibrational thing entirely, it's a frequency thing. And there is a range. Eventually, the energy gets to a point where you are above the range where they can affect, where these negative things can affect you at all. So allow that to happen. Rise like the cream to the top, right? Rise to the top, rise above it. That's what I'm seeing is rising above things. Allow yourself to rise above. And then you can't be harmed because you can't be even, we'll even get to the point where they won't even hardly be able to see us. They won't even be able to see us. They won't even be able to notice us. We'll be out of their range. That's great news. Thank you. We're getting there. So we're getting to that point. We're just about to pop out of their reality forever, which is the scariest thing for them. The ones that are trying to hold us down. That's why they're trying to keep the vibration low, is because we're about to slide out of their grasp forever. They're never going to be able to get us again. Never going to be able to catch us because we're going to be just gone from there. It's like, outside of a certain range of our vision, hearing, whatever, it's just gone. To us, it doesn't exist. That's the way it's going to be. So, thank you. That's very comforting. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Anything anybody else have to say about any of this? Anybody else get anything out of that I should know? Sounded Hebrew-ish.
I do have a question about that. Have you ever reverse speech analyzed any of that? Have you ever looked into any of that reverse
Yeah.
speech stuff?
Yeah. I
Did you
did
find
do
anything?
that. It was the strangest thing. I know. You know what?
Hmm.
I haven't. I might try again. I haven't recently tried it. That would be something to try.
Yeah, there was a guy in Australia that was real big on that, and it this was a many years ago, probably 2016 or so, that I
Hey,
was running
Junking
his
Gator Girl.
but yeah, it was kind of
Well,
interesting.
the thing about it is I tried it, but I found out something. It sounded like I kept calling myself a wuss, but
Huh.
it's because I say so a lot. I was saying so. Every time I say so, the reverse of that is wuss.
Yeah.
So I thought I was calling myself a wuss, but no, it was just every time I said so.
Yeah,
So I
that is the
didn't
problem
really,
with that. It is a lot. It ends up being a lot that you have to pick through, right?
yeah, and I don't know. Sometimes it's already been proven that sometimes we hear what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And and sometimes you'll hear it that way. Uh, even they've even done experiments. They've even done little, exercises where now we're going to tell you it's this. Now we're going to tell you it's this, and you can hear those different things. Or are they saying this? Or are they saying this? So I don't know. Some things maybe when they're very clear, but other things that are kind of hazy, I wouldn't put much faith in.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think there's a lot of gimmick there.
Yeah.
But I kind
Yeah.
of gave up on it because it's a little bit gimmicky.
It is. It is a. It's definitely not as clear cut as you'd like it to be, but
Yeah, there's too much going on. There's too many factors in that. Then I was doing EVPs, and I swear, and I did the white noise
yeah.
EVP. I just on my computer. I had and this was a long, long, long time ago when before I had gotten so strong. And I was just curious and I tried it and I got voices. And one of the things that really it sounded like it was right by me and it said, "I'm sorry." And I just jumped.
Yeah. You gave me chills. Yeah.
I Yeah, and I turned it off and I said, "Okay, I can't do this. I'm not mature enough to do this right now. I'm
I
going to have to
saw
wait
that,
until I,
and
you
it
know."
should have interested me more, just because it's dealing with audio, and I'm already into that sort of thing. But yeah, something about that, I was like, I'm not gonna go there with that whole EVP
Yeah.
thing, and but
So I had problems with it, and I just decided, okay, for whatever reason, I'm not getting along well with this, and I think I'll just put it as let somebody else work.
mm,
Let somebody else work on that one. Maybe I will try again someday when it's a bright sunny day and I'm outside and not in my apartment.
yeah,
Because I was of the opinion too is that when we're doing that, are we opening portals? I don't know. Do you know that in my place in the front room here, where I had my computer, I was doing a lot of spiritual work. What? What are you trying to tell me, baby? There's a lot going on. He has a lot to say. Well, there was very high readings, like oh, what do they call them? The electronic things that read the energy. Um,
like a
can't-
EMF meter type thing, or
yeah, we were looking for an entirely different thing. We were looking for EMF as far as how electromagnetic frequency might be affecting us. Well, in that spot where I had my computer for ages, I had moved it. In that spot, it was so freaking high that we couldn't believe it. We're like, this thing broken? No, it was like we chased there, and it's on my channel somewhere. But yeah, we'd get to this one spot and it would just go spiking off the rails, just totally. And somebody said, well, if it was that thing's there's got to be something wrong because if it was that high, you'd have hallucinations and portals would be opening and so on and so forth. And I'm there going, maybe that's exactly what's going on.
uh, Yeah.
Maybe that's exactly what's happening. And so I did all kinds of clearings and finally got to the point where, what are you looking at?
Hmm.
Okay, you're freaking me out. You're freaking me out. I can't see whatever that is. He sees something. And it's darting all over the room.
Hmm.
Have you been in the nip? No. I'm sorry, Mr. Kitty. I'm not trying to make fun of you. You're trying to tell me something. Okay, here we go again. Weird shit. Weird shit in my life again. Okay. Are you hearing the weird noises? The chirps? Is that what you're hearing? Yeah, because I'm hearing weird chirps all. Yeah, well, I'm getting visited by somebody. Definitely, and he's seeing it. There's stuff here. He's still looking all over the place. Have you been trying to tell me all night? Yes. I'm sorry, kitten. I was busy. Okay, I'm gonna have to tend to this. You guys, I love you. Um, Lewis, I am the Ghostbusters. I don't call the Ghostbusters. I am the Ghostbusters. I've told you this for years. I am that person. Okay. I am who you call. I am that girl that you call. I'm the one that all my friends call, okay? No, they ain't no seams because they bite and I ain't got any of that going on. Maybe that itching is not maybe that's them trying to get in touch with me. Okay. I'm gonna have to do some things around here. Um okay, you guys, I love you. I'm gonna have to take this to Wednesday. Very glad that thanks to Indy for coming in.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. We've been on nearly 4 hours, and I
Hmm.
have to be mindful because I'm now on the free program and get limited hours of StreamYard. Um, some other time, if you want to come as a guest, Indy, let me know and we'll set it up. But we'll set it up through YouTube, and then it won't take up my hours on StreamYard. But if somebody wants to come on the show and have something to say, please let me know about it. You know how to contact me. Um, yeah, I love you guys. Remember you're divine. And I am the Ghostbuster, so I gotta go. But I gotta go do this for myself. I got some shit to take care of. Obviously, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's stuff I gotta take care of. Dolly, you come in at the very end, love. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Truth is where you find it. Hope you're finding some here. And get ready. We've been warned. It's going to be crazy. You're going to rise above it. And Mary's right. Love is going to win. Fear is not your friend right now. Okay. Bear that in mind too. Thanks, Cindy.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you.
You've been a great compadre during this time. Come up and talk to us more. Okay. Now, yeah, absolutely, Kitty. Excitement's coming. Write it. Exactly. Okay, gosh, yeah, it's getting complicated in my mind now. Okay.
Hmm.
Love you.
Peace
I'll
out.
see you Wednesday.